Alright, I don't feel like I did anything, but we're gonna... Hey. We're gonna hope for the best. Let's just play a video game and see what happens. Thank you all so much for your patience. I'm sorry. But my god. I'll need to look into this later, but who has the time? Not me. Chef's kiss. Y'all are so sweet, B. That's such a sweetheart thing to say. Oh my goodness. Alright, let's continue from where we left off. Gonna hope for the dang old best. Alright, so listen, if you weren't here yesterday, let me just briefly recap. We're on trial for murder. We didn't do it. So what we need to prove our innocence, A, but B, the 3 key witnesses that were in this restaurant that the murder took place in, we found out that they were sworn to secrecy to not reveal that there was this 4th person in the room besides us. They all said that this woman wasn't there, and then we found out a woman had to be there because she was eating a steak. So now I think we're to have let her in. Moida! Alright, here we go. Excellent work, Ryunosuke. That was superb. That sounds good, hamburger.
My heart was in my mouth the entire time.
It was almost unbelievable. I mean, looking at you in there. You were drenched in sweat, your eyes popping, your knees knocking, and you were grinding your teeth. It was a grim sight, but before I knew it, you'd started finding inconsistencies in the testimony. I swear I didn't do it. Don't mind this. Uh-oh. I think you might have a natural talent for being a lawyer.
Forget it, it's terrifying. If I get through this, I don't ever want to see the inside of a courtroom ever again.
That was my Titus laugh from Final Fantasy X. Did you like it? Ha 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 ha. Anyways, it looks like we've exposed your phantom lady at last. Ms. Giselle Brett, a student from Great Britain. I don't know if her name's a pun either. I feel like it's not, but maybe it is. A student from Great Britain, is she?
That's what I was trying to tell everyone from the start. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone. There was a young woman with him, like I've been saying all along.
Alright, I know. You don't have to yell at me. Yes, you have, haven't you?
I might not be overly confident in the courtroom, but my powers of observation are one thing I am sure of.
Yes, I can see that. So, about this young gentlewoman. Thanks to our detective friend, she was hastily escorted away from the scene, it seems. I need to play Ace Attorney. They're really good. The mainline games go on sale all the time. So you could get 3 entire excellent mystery visual novels for like $15 whenever they go on sale. It's insane. It's madness. But this one's pretty good too. This is, I think full price, it's like $40. Not too bad. Did you see what happened with that?
No, I didn't see any of it.
You own them? Oh, hell yeah. Even better.
I was just on my way out of the restaurant myself. Then, on the floor next to Dr. Wilson's table,
I noticed there was a gun lying on the floor. This is giving us the recap we needed.
And just after, I bent down and picked it up.
Bam!
I didn't have time to think about where the sound of the gunshot had come from. The waiter ran over to me, looking as white as a sheet. And he bundled me in some sort of small pantry next to the kitchen.
Bundle. Fast thinking by the detective. He apprehended his suspect without a moment's delay.
Yes, and because I was shut in the pantry, I have no idea what happened outside in the dining area.
Ah, there you are. Well done, both of you. Who are you? I don't know what voice to give you. It's you. Professor Mikotoba. Well, seems I was right. The pair of you make an outstanding team. You're just friends. You're just real good friends. The two of you make such a good team of friends. A friendship team. Anyways. Yes, it seems you planned this from the start. You arranged things so that I wouldn't be able to act as a lawyer in this trial. Our modern country is still in its infancy. Our justice system, even more so. Which is why I firmly believe that we need to send our brightest young stars overseas to learn all they can. I wanted to avoid a situation that may have resulted in your study tour of Great Britain being cancelled. Well, it makes no difference. Lawyer or otherwise, if I'm the kind of man who can't help his best friend avert the worst crisis of his life... We're just friends. I shouldn't waste everyone's time by going to study overseas anyway.
What? What are you saying, Kazuma?
So that's your stance. I was afraid you'd feel that way.
Kazuma.
Well then, looks like it all comes down to you, young man. They're all staring at me, oh god.
To me?
Yes, you need to prove your innocence and uncover what really took place in that restaurant. I must say, I very much want to know the truth. After all, I have a personal connection to this case.
Come to think of it, he said the same thing earlier this morning, didn't he? If you don't mind me asking, Professor, did you know the victim?
Yes, I did. As you're probably aware, we were best friends, just like you two are best friends. It's a real friendship. It's a real friendship time over here. So you're probably aware Dr. John Wilson was a visiting professor at UMA, and it was I who invited him.
Oh, I see.
I see. I didn't know that before. Anyway, you're about to go into battle. You have a sword and everything. The victim was a university professor from Great Britain, and a well-known one at that. Does he look like a happier J. Jonah Jameson? You're not right. It's the mustache is really the answer. It's the mustache. Naturally, our government is looking to identify and punish the culprit as quickly as possible. But let's not forget who we're going up against. The gentlewoman whose involvement our police bureau went to extraordinary lengths to hide. Yes, and I'm sure the prosecution will be using every tool at their disposal to quash your case. But I've no doubt that you pair will put up a good fight right to the last. Best of luck!
Thank you.
Now then. I need you to run an errand at the university at once. There's something I think we may need.
Of course. Good luck, Kazuma-sama. Bye-bye. I'm leaving.
And then Naruhodo! Court recess is over. Please make your way back inside to the courtroom at once! Okay, bailiff. It's time. Let's get back to it, partner. Partner, 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 partner.
They're just friends.
Go back in there and deal a decisive blow! For these old fossils knowing it. Come on. Yeah, you hold that sword.
Kazuma?
What? What do you want?
Thank you, really.
What for?
Well, if you hadn't said you believed me, then I'm fairly sure I'd already have been found guilty by now.
Look, I have faith in you. As a lawyer and as a friend. We're just forever friends. Frog, hello, how are you? I'm doing okay. We got the stream going. I don't know what was wrong with it, but we got it going.
Coming from you, that means a lot. If I'm found guilty in this trial, he's really gonna give up on his dream of studying abroad. That's the kind of true friend he is. He'll stay with me, in jail forever. So this isn't just my battle anymore. Thank you. Whoever we're up against, we absolutely cannot afford to lose. Alright then. I'll save the thank yous for after the trial.
You can treat me to one of those sukiyaki meals I like from Yume Cafeteria on University Street.
Ow! Okay.
With an extra large portion, of course. Of course.
Of course, of course.
Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. I don't know what I did to fix the audio thing. I was fully expecting it to break again. But I guess it's working. Hope your day gets better. Thank you. It'll be good. Oh, look at this silly little man. The court hereby resumes the trial of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Prosecutor Ouchi, have you managed to subpoena the witness?
Yes, Your Excellency, against all odds. And thanks to a certain young... stripling?
What? What? What is that?
The prosecution is now under rather painful scrutiny from the government.
Sorry.
Let the government scrutinize. That's their job. It's nothing to worry about.
It's highly unlikely that the good relations we forged with Great Britain will emerge from this trial unscathed. Will you still think it's nothing to worry about when the new treaty breaks down and our nation founders?
Again, terribly sorry.
The friendship between our nations is really so fragile that the treaty isn't worth the paper it's written on. You really have nothing to worry about, Ryunosuke.
What do you mean?
A secret trial, anxiety over some foreign government's opinions, a bungled investigation, missing witnesses. Is this what our nation's justice system is? Is this the Supreme Court of Japan or of England?
Heck yeah, sounds good, B.
Shut up, you jumped up rookie boy!
Next time you get upset with somebody, just call him a jumped up rookie boy.
Heck yeah, Frog.
You and your friend know nothing of the situation our nation finds itself in. By aligning ourselves with this great world power, we'll become strong. Diplomacy has never been more critical. Steady political maneuvering is what will secure our futures.
I won't deny that I'm no expert. I'm just a student, and one who could arguably study harder too. But standing here now in our Supreme Court, there is one thing I feel very strongly. A country that fails to uphold the truth in its justice system is a country with no future at all.
Ha! Got him.
Well said, Ryunosuke. Despite the wide-eyed look of terror.
You little brats!
Thank you, Counsel. This court is the pinnacle of our nation's justice system, and it exists solely for the pursuance of truth. With that in mind, this trial will now resume with the next witness taking the stand. The visiting student from Great Britain, Ms. Giselle Brett. Blah, blah, blah.
Yes. Your Excellency!
Oh, I forgot about her stupid swan hat. Oh my god. Oh my god. She is the most extra I've ever seen.
Well, what a delight it is to welcome such a fine gentlewoman to Japan, and from such a distant land.
Tea! Someone bring English tea! In England, no discussions take place without tea.
Is that true?
No idea.
So, could we possibly trouble you to state your name and occupation for the court?
She hasn't even said a word, and she has wrapped everyone around her little fingers.
Of course. My name is Satoru Hosonaga. I have been working undercover as the head waiter at Le Carnival.
Yes, we know about you already.
Inspector Hosonaga, where are your manners? In England, it's always ladies first.
It took one break for this particular judge to become silly. Is that true?
No idea. More importantly, a little earlier today you said something to me. You said your powers of observation are the one thing you're sure of.
Oh, yes. I think I did, didn't I?
Yet your description for this amazing sight was simply a woman. Sorry, Ryunosuke, but powers of observation aside, your powers of description are sorely lacking.
Guilty.
So, dear lady, once again, if we may trouble you for your name and occupation, please.
They're so extra. Well, I love it. Hello.
Oh.
She's speaking in cursive.
I'm terribly sorry, dear lady, but what?
Oh, he's speaking. Is that supposed to, like, be English? It doesn't look like any English I've ever seen.
The lady says her name is Giselle Brett. She comes from London, England. She's a visiting research student, currently enrolled in Yume University's medical faculty.
Oh, Oh my, what a rare treat to hear the dulcet tones of a delightful language of the British people. I'm afraid I don't understand a word you said, but it was as beautiful as a hummingbird song. Moth, hello, how are you?
Not the fancy talk. As far as I can tell, the detective is translating her words faithfully enough.
Yes, I agree. Haha, you'll obviously do fine in England, Kazuma. Her English doesn't rattle you at all, does it?
Nor you. You've clearly been paying attention in your English classes, Ryunosuke. The court thanks the beautiful lady for taking the stand. Now, if we may trouble you to confirm something, Miss Brett. 3 days ago, at a restaurant called Le Carnival, a grim murder took place. The court has been led to believe that you were dining there with the victim, Dr. Wilson, at the time. Excuse me, is that correct? He says, yes.
This could take some time.
So even though she's studying here in Japan, she can't speak any Japanese? She'd like to apologize for disappearing from the scene. What'd I miss? We have a SWAN lady here. I'm alright, how are you? I'm doing well. The game's working now, so I'm glad. She says that she was due to make a presentation at the university, so she had to leave immediately. Interesting, when you're the one who engineered her escape. I was just following special orders from the Bureau.
Well now, dear lady, would you be so kind as to cast your eyes over this photographic print? Seeing as you were so unfortunately present at the scene of the crime, could it be that your resplendent eyes caught sight of the wicked perpetrator, perhaps?
Apparently it was a very frightening and sorrowful sight. Do you mean to say? Yes, it would appear the lady did witness the crime. The very moment when the accused, standing right there in this courtroom, shot the victim in cold blood.
Uh-oh. Oh no.
Order! Order in the court!
We didn't do it, though. Did you hear that, Your Excellency? Here we have an absolutely conclusive witness statement.
Well, it does look like it's clear now. Clear who our real enemy is.
Yeah, touch that sword. You touch it.
Unfortunately, I will have to ask you to formally testify, if you please. Kindly tell the court the exact nature of this frightening and sorrowful sight you described.
Okay. He's like, oh, whatever. I'll do it.
Frightening and sorrowful sight.
Oh. I had arranged to meet for a slightly late luncheon with Dr. Wilson that day. The professor was unable to eat, so I ordered for myself only, a beef steak. After a while, the accused came over to greet the professor, and they got into a fierce argument. Then, not long afterwards, the accused took the professor's gun and shot him right before my eyes.
What?
I don't carry a gun myself, so obviously I couldn't have been the culprit.
What?
This is a condemning testimony indeed.
Yes! No, I didn't have any kind of argument with the professor at all.
Objection! Quiet, you filthy wretch! Look at you, you black-hearted blackguard, and look at this Snow White angel. They're just so on her side, everybody.
I ought to farm because I smell BS.
I'm sure even a dark-minded scoundrel like you can imagine whose words the court is going to believe.
You're still making the same mistakes, Ryunosuke. You mustn't blurt out when you're goaded like that. That's a lesson you need to learn.
But he's so annoying. He's very annoying.
Of course, I was at the scene as well. I took statements from this lady and the 2 witnesses who testified before, and reported back to the Bureau. It was decided that Ms. Brett was not involved, so I let her go. Testimonies of the last 2 witnesses were completely worthless, however. Well, even so. On the day in question, the lady was wearing the same outfit as she is today. Come on. As you can see, there is nowhere about her person where she could conceal a firearm.
I would think she could hide a gun almost anywhere in that outfit if she wanted to.
Unless and until the precise location where the witness is to have hidden a weapon can be shown, this is moot.
There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun.
Ren, a.k.a. Eureka! Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the Mew crew. Hello. What do you mean?
Those are the witness's own words on the matter.
That's ridiculous. If only I was allowed to lift up her dress, I could prove it.
Oh my god. Don't think about doing anything rash, Renosuke.
I didn't fire the gun I picked up. There must have been another gun there that day.
You're right about that, which means this lady was hiding a gun somewhere. Yes, that's what we have to prove now. And to do so, we will need to pull her testimony apart.
Oh!
Ah! The defense may now cross-examine the witness. Oh, wait, the defense may not...
Oh, yes, Your Excellency.
Sometimes it's hard to keep up with all the different characters. Ow. Alright, let's just press everything. Here we go.
Yes! Yes! After 2 p.m., in fact. That's really quite a late lunch, isn't it?
Objection! You don't keep up with the latest fashions from Britain, do you? Late luncheons are on vogue, isn't that right?
Push buttons. No.
Ah! A decisive English no has quite a sting to it. The gentlewoman is currently working in the victim's research laboratory, it seems. Ozunaga's voice and Kazuma's voice are very similar. I gotta try and break them apart. So it was apparently a daily occurrence that they would lunch together. But on the day in question, the victim had another appointment at the clinic first.
Yes, which we can prove from the medical report card that was submitted as evidence earlier.
That's right. Ms. Brett and the victim went to lunch following the victim's treatment, which is why it was so late. Yes, that all makes perfect sense.
Such wonderful logic. What a shining example of English intelligence this fine gentlewoman has.
He is down bad. So what both happened? So you both arrived at the restaurant. What happened next? Professor was not able to eat, so I ordered for myself only a beef steak. Yes. That's true. Maybe.
He was unable to eat, you say? And that was because he just had a tooth removed at the Hada Clinic, right? Correct?
That's right.
You're supposed to actually check with the witness before answering.
Was Ms. Brett aware of that fact? Seems so, yes. She'd heard that the professor was to have had some dental treatment.
So that would mean that it was you who ate the steak pictured here. Is that right, Miss Brett?
Why is it on his side? That's right, yes. The print you have there shows the table exactly as it was, left after the horrifying events.
Exactly, as it was left.
Dear me, what a harrowing experience. To have traveled to a distant island on the far side of the world and be embroiled in such a tragic incident. Have no fear, my dear lady. I swear I will crush the evil the fiend that has subjected you to this terrible plight.
So the victim, Dr. Wilson, had nothing to eat or drink at all?
The opposing attorney is a shrimp.
That's right. Other than some carbonated water.
Just water?
Yes, the professor was unable to eat, but he had been given permission to drink water. So it appears that the diners toasted their lunch with a glass of water each. Each raised a glass of carbonated water. What do you think, Ryunosuke, about the witness's last statement? It's very meaningful. I didn't mean to press that. But that's what I want.
Last statement of yours, Miss Brett, has a profound bearing on this case.
Well, well, how fascinating. Do tell us, what is this profound bearing?
Uh-oh. The significance of the statement will become apparent when the time is right. The defense calls for the witness's last statement to be formally added to the testimony.
Well, sidestepped, counsel.
Very well, Miss Brett. Kindly repeat what you just said to be added to your official testimony. Gladly, she says.
That was brilliant, Kazuma. I'm gonna remember that one.
Which one?
The significance will become apparent when the time is right. I could really use that phrase.
I'd hope there are some more useful tips you're picking up from this experience than that, Ryunosuke. Ordered a beefsteak for myself. Professor I said cheers over a glass of carbonated water. So I'm gonna present, but I'm pretty sure it is a carbonated water. Okay. Let's examine. There's only one glass. There's only one glass. They couldn't have had a toast. Oh my god. Does the other photo doesn't really picture that. There's only one glass. So I'm gonna present this. We're gonna see how this goes.
Yes! Yes!
Azuma reminds me of the Flame Ashira. I could see that.
That's it. Let me just confirm something, please. It's to do with this photographic print. Just a short while ago, you spoke of this print showing the victim's table at the crime scene. That was exactly as it was left.
That is correct, the lady says. Every time it gets me.
Well, that is, it's odd, very odd.
Dear me, what is the odd? What's odd is the defense's inability to express itself.
Ryunosuke, what is it about the print that looks odd to you?
Well, obviously, it's the cheers.
The cheers?
Miss Brett just told us that she and the professor said cheers over a glass of water. But if that's true, there should be 2 glasses on the table, not 1.
Got him. Boop, boop, boop,
boop. You're quite right, Counsel. There's only 1 glass pictured here.
Objection! Are we supposed to be impressed by this nitpicking over minutia? Which possible difference does the presence or absence of a glass make on the case?
Objection!
Ooh. Minutia, you say? Boom! Could it be that the detective here removed a glass from the table to conceal the lady's presence? Of course not. I would never do something so reckless.
But there should have been 2 glasses on the table.
Quiet, Shrimp Man.
Are you gonna try and tell me you can clink with only 1?
You're quite right. They certainly took 2 glasses to the table. Inspector, what did the lady say? It would seem that it was Miss Brett who took the glass from the table.
What?
It was all so terrifying, everything that happened. I panicked and thought I should try to hide the fact that I'd been there at all, she's saying.
Objection! I find you guilty of being an amazing Catboy. Drax!
Oh my goodness, you're so sweet. Hello.
Good gracious.
How are you?
Sorry.
Ah!
There,
as I assured the court before, this is of no consequence at all.
Oh, please.
We must remember that the student had just murdered this lady's luncheon companion before her very eyes. Who could blame her for concealing a glass or two in her state of disarray?
That's absurd.
Just still sick. I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay enough. With the stream is going. I don't know what the issue was. Before, we had some sound issues again. But it's fine now.
Oh, really? So do we take it that you are now going to accuse this vulnerable, young, and beautiful woman of mischief?
What? No. This can't be put down to mischief.
I'd like to know exactly how the lady took the glass from the scene. Yeah, wherever she put it is where a gun could be. It seemed that she slipped into a small handbag she was carrying. The handbag could hold a gun! Are you kidding?
A handbag, you say?
Yes, Your Excellency. A small handheld pouch commonly carried by well-to-do women in England.
So, the beautiful lady has very graciously explained how and why she removed the glass from the scene now. However, the fact remains that this glass has absolutely no bearing on the case. The student has been trying to confuse the court with logical reasoning, but in the end, it comes to nothing.
Why is he carrying a katana? Wouldn't you if you could? Why not?
No more pretentious accusations. You've wasted enough time already.
Indeed, the lady has offered a satisfactory explanation as to why she removed the glass. I think henceforth we can consider the matter to have no bearing on the case. Counsel for the defense, are you in agreement?
No.
Well, I don't know, really.
If you want to pursue this matter further, you're going to need to show that it has some deeper significance.
Yes, you're right. So she took the glass away in her handbag.
The handbag. Because that's where a gun could live.
Wait, the lady put the glass in her handbag, you say?
Yes, do try to keep up. It's already been explained to the court that all English gentlewomen carry handbags for small items.
Let me see. A little while ago, Miss Britt stated the following. There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. But what she forgot to mention was her handbag. In which it would be perfectly possible to conceal a gun.
Frozen, hello. We're in the airport security. We need to check the bags.
You're right!
You got 3 katanas. Just go to court with one. It'll be fine. I'm not a lawyer. Well done, partner. I had a feeling you'd pick up on that, too.
What are you insinuating, you vile blackguard?
It's really very simple. A gunshot was heard when the defendant picked up the gun from the restaurant floor. As he didn't fire that gun, we can deduce there must have been another firearm at the scene. It's true, the true murder weapon, if you will.
You can't seriously be suggesting.
Inspector Hosanaga,
Yes? What up?
did you or did you not search Mr. Jail Brett's handbag on the day of the murder?
No, sir, I did not.
As I thought. In other words, another gun, the one that was actually used to kill the professor, could have been hidden in Ms. Brett's handbag.
No! When I get arrested for having a katana in public, I can say, go follow Comfy Catboy Twitch. He told me he'll bail me out. Listen, you can tell people that. I'm not going to stop you from telling people that. But...
Order!
What is the meaning of this, Inspector?
The meaning of what, Prosecutor Ouchie?
Why on earth did you not have the lady open her handbag to show you the contents at the time? Thanks for your bungling incompetence. Now she has to endure these uncomfortable accusations.
Brilliant work, partner. Now we have a chance to expose the real woman behind the mask.
Do you think so, Kazuma?
He's bleeding. He has a mouth blood problem. I don't know what the deal is. We have not been explained to it yet. But are you going to bail me out? He's gonna listen. You have a sword, right? You don't need my help. Just fight your way out, it's fine. Well, what a sorry situation. Clearly you have no faith in the police. As I said, I did not search the lady's handbag after the shooting. Simply because it was unnecessary.
Unnecessary in what way?
You listen to anime characters. Alright. If that's the case, drink lots of water. Be healthy. Live a good life. I ought to thank the student lawyer, really. I have a piece of evidence here that I had completely forgotten about. This photographic print. What do you mean? This print of a photograph that I thought would be prudent to take immediately after shooting. As you can see, it clearly shows Ms. Brett's handbag.
Well, I never. You can see right through to what's inside.
That's right. Apparently, meshwork bags like these are the height of fashion in London at the moment. Oh my god!
So if the contents are clearly visible...
Exactly. So there was no need to search the lady's handbag. If there had been a gun inside, it would have been immediately obvious. Ah! As you can see, there's nothing to imply Ms. Brett's guilt here. Thank you for helping to prove that, Naruhodo-san. Wait a minute! Take out the entire police department and jail cell and turn into a JRPG. It'll be like Chrono Trigger when you get arrested in that game. It's gonna be great.
Order! Order! Inspector Hosanaga, will you submit that print as evidence? You will submit that, President, at once.
Certainly, Your Excellency.
Added to the court record.
Bump.
I think you've had long enough to cross-examine the witness counsel.
No, there's something more. He had a burn on his hand.
The court has now been shown considerable evidence. As the photographic print just submitted into the court record appears to have no further significance. I am satisfied that there is no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling.
Indeed, and there is only one logical conclusion. That the pathetic rookie slumped over the bench before us is the only possible perpetrator of this crime.
No. Just when I thought I was beginning to turn things around. I'm in a worse situation than I was at the start.
Uh-oh, he's upsetty spaghetti.
Kazuma?
I'm sorry, Ryunosuke. Now that the cross-examination of the witness is over, there's no way to force the trial to continue.
What? You mean this is it?
I must say, you put up quite a fight for a rookie student. But the weak are meat while the strong eat. You were wasting your time. There was no way to defeat true justice. A fact you can chew on to your heart's content from the inside of your cell.
This can't be happening. Am I really going to be found guilty of a crime that I didn't commit? And Kazuma. His dream of going to study in Great Britain will slip through his fingers. Kazuma.
What?
Is there really no chance now of turning this trial around?
You heard the judge. There's nothing about that last photograph the detective produced that we can contest. Which means there's no basis on which we can argue for the trial to continue.
Very well. I will now proceed immediately to the ruling.
It seems we'll be able to report to the British government on time after all.
That smug little...
Ryunosuke Naru...
Oh!
Yeah!
Wait, Your Excellency.
Ryunosuke?
I don't think you can rule on this case yet.
There's no way to defeat the justice.
This amateurishness is getting ridiculous. When His Excellency deems that the trial is over, he gives his ruling. That is the most basic protocol of the courtroom.
Yes!
Oh, he's got a little handguard thing.
Your Excellency, just a moment ago you said this. As the photographic print just submitted appears to have no further significance, there is no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling. Now, that means that if there were a problem with the evidence, some significant detail, I mean, then ruling on this case at this time would be out of the question.
Objection! This is blatant straw clutching. Look at this photographic print. All it shows is the handbag the gentleman was carrying on the day in question. There can be no problem with this evidence.
You better know what you're doing, Ryunosuke. I understand your objection, Counsel. Certainly, the new evidence submitted by the detective has not undergone the court's scrutiny. However, I fail to see how we can glean any new information on the...
He's got a bull right there. Like, are you all blind? What's happening?
Ha, my thoughts exactly.
The presentation of evidence exactly have been pen stuck to a wad of chewing gum. Stuck to it, I believe that Maya Fey didn't commit the act of nuking Turkey. Probably she didn't do that. But I don't know. She gets up to stuff.
Really, the prosecution is becoming tired of this rookie's desperate wheezes.
Yes, I am desperate, but this isn't a wheeze. There's something about this photograph which just doesn't seem right. I feel like I could put my finger on it. I could point to it with my finger, maybe.
Very well, I will grant the defense one final opportunity.
What?
But be warned that if I am unsatisfied by your response here, the trial will be over with immediate effect. Do I make myself clear?
Yes, Your Excellency.
So, take another look at this photographic print Inspector Hosonaga submitted before. You will identify for the court where in this print we see the significant detail to which you have alluded.
Present.
Yes!
Yes! Look at this, so here. There's a very unusual mark on the victim's wrist.
That is true. Looks almost like a burn of some description.
Uh-oh!
Objection! Dear me, I was pondering what new piffle you would come out with. A burn, you say, on the victim's wrist? Clearly that's nothing whatsoever to do with the magnificent lady's handbag.
Yes, that is a burn mark, you're right. Go on, Inspector.
Police coroner also noticed it when he was performing the post-mortem examination. It was deemed unrelated to the cause of death, so he didn't note it in his report.
What did I tell you? In any case, we have no idea when the victim suffered this burn, do we? And no possible way of knowing either.
No, we do. You've been done caught burn-handed.
The more I look at it, the more I find myself intrigued by the curious shape of this mark. However, as Prosecutor Ouchi points out, unless a firm connection to the case can be shown, I cannot allow any further time to be spent on the precise details of this burn. Sick burn, bro.
Excuse me, Your Excellency. It would seem Ms. Brett has a lunch appointment with the dean and other university staff. Oh no. She would like to know if she may be excused from the stand now.
Oh, of course, dear lady. We shan't hold you up any longer. I'm quite sure His Excellency is about to give his final ruling anyway.
What's your thinking on this, Ryunosuke? Do you believe this burn does have something to do with the case?
To be honest, I'm not really sure. But if I don't keep pushing, then it's all over. So I was thinking I should keep digging and digging, in the hope that I might uncover something useful.
Yes, you're right.
I am?
If we can just link that burn to the case, if we can do that, we might be able to prise this shutting door back open again.
Just give up, Counsel. You can't possibly hope to do that.
Indeed, I'm afraid that without evidence, I can't allow you to pursue what is little more than conjecture.
But if we had evidence? Evidence that irrefutably linked the burn on the victim's wrist to the case, then you would allow it?
I would, yes.
To tell the truth, I hadn't noticed that burn. But as soon as you pointed it out, what I did notice was the color draining from Ms. Brett's face.
Really? I have to find some link between that burn and the case.
Yeah, let me do it, please. Oh my god. I can point immediately right now to it.
This is the moment of truth. It's time to find some evidence that proves what the burn really means.
So then, the defense will now present its evidence to the court. The evidence that demonstrates an inextricable connection to the victim's burn mark and this trial.
I don't think it's this one. No. It's this again. Yeah! It's right there. Present.
Yes!
What's this, counsel? The print?
Yes, Your Excellency. I believe photographic prints are an amazing invention. When we humans look at the scene, we miss things. But in a photograph, things we may have overlooked at the time are recorded forevermore.
Do hurry up, rookie. What are you trying to say? To inconvenience this poor lady any further really would be quite inexcusable.
Actually, we may need you to stay with us a little longer if you don't mind, Miss Brett. You see, it's very clearly visible in this other photograph. How did the victim come to have that unusually shaped burn on his wrist? The reason is recorded here forevermore.
What? How?
Objection! You can't fool me with your little bluffs, boy. If that's your game, then let's see how it plays out. Show the court exactly what you mean.
What could it possibly be, chat? Are you kidding? Yes! What could it be? I don't know.
The beefsteak?
The suspect was Maya. It couldn't have been in the air. It might still be Maya.
Actually, the point is the metal plate the steak was served on.
The plate? Ah!
Your Excellency, are you all right?
As you can see, there's an emblem on the plate. I would guess it's some sort of trademark of Le Carnival.
Ah.
The emblem on that plate. And the victim's burn. Woo, 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 woo. Yeah! Are exactly the same shape.
Ah!
Inosuke, you genius.
You're spot on.
Which means the victim must have suffered this burn while he was present at the restaurant.
Objection! But even if that is the case, we can't know if it happened on the day in question or not. It could have been the day before or the day after that. It most likely happened at some other unrelated time.
Well,
Objection!
Sadly, Prosecutor Ouchie, the chances of that are extremely slim.
Thanks.
Why?
The outline of the burn is clearly discernible. Such a serious injury would have caused quite a commotion at the restaurant. Wouldn't you agree, Inspector Hosonaga? Can't imagine having missed such a terrible disaster, certainly.
But...
I would say, looking at the picture of the wound, that it wasn't suffered very long ago. And although it's not a particularly large burn, it's extremely well defined, as the defense just pointed out. This was no mild burn, that's for sure.
Can you be more specific, Inspector?
Well, let's see. If the plate was at around 90 degrees centigrade, a burn like that would have taken around 3 seconds.
It's inconceivable that the victim wouldn't have let out a scream of pain then.
I've been investigating at the restaurant for several weeks already, but I've not heard anyone scream at all. And as the head waiter of Le Carnival, I can testify to that without hesitation. J-Mama, hello, good morning, how are you?
But you're a detective, not a waiter!
Yes! Yeah! There you have it, something isn't right here. As the detective said, anyone who burnt themselves on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds would scream in pain. There's no questioning of that.
And yet, Inspector Hosonaga never heard the professor scream, not on that day or any before it.
That's right. And the strange thing is, on the day he was shot, I didn't hear him cry out either.
What are you suggesting?
Well, if the professor had carelessly laid his wrist on the plate or anything like 3 seconds that day,
That would be beyond careless, I think, Counsel.
then the rest of us in the restaurant, myself, the sergeant, and the old antiques dealer, all of us would, without any question, have heard him scream. Wouldn't you agree, Prosecutor Ouchie?
Well, yes, I suppose.
Your back is angy. Oh, no. Give you 20 pieces of evidence she didn't do it. Forgot it happened. It's out of my brain. I should have written it down.
So the question is, why didn't a single person hear Dr. Wilson scream?
I almost don't believe it.
Ryunosuke, do you think...
Can it really be true? I never dreamt we'd arrive at a conclusion like this, but I'm starting to think that maybe we've been led into a terrible trap. Uh-oh.
I think he was dead, but I think maybe he was poisoned or something.
There's only one explanation I can think of to make it make sense of this apparent impossibility. On the day in question, when he suffered the burn to his wrist, Dr. Wilson
Was already deceased. I think so.
No man could remain silent while his wrist was burning on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds. That's clearly impossible. Apart from in one particular situation.
Counsel, are you suggesting...
Yes, it's only possible if the man was already dead.
Already?
Dead?
Oh, she's looking real serious at me.
Knowing what we know now, it's the only possible explanation.
Yeah!
When the beefsteak was brought to Dr. Wilson's table that day, the professor was already dead.
That's madness!
Order, please, Counsel. Explain this absurd notion at once. The victim was killed by a gunshot.
That's right, absolutely right, Your Excellency. This is just another ridiculous ploy by the rookie student, but clearly he has no grasp of the facts.
Objection!
Bread is sus. Postmortem ouchie. Inky, hello, welcome, how are you?
No, Prosecutor Ouchie, it's you who has no grasp of the facts.
I beg your pardon?
As soon as it became apparent that the victim had suffered a burn while at the restaurant, the whole case is turned upside down. Or have you not grasped that yet? Your Excellency, this court must hear from this witness again. If it's true, as we now believe, that the victim was already dead before the gunshot was heard, it's highly likely that Ms. Brett knows something about it. You like the heart on my shirt? Hey, thanks. I'm glad. Woo!
Incredible! I certainly didn't anticipate this twist of events.
The judge just pulls up some popcorn.
I'm sorry to say, Miss Brett, that you will have to forget your luncheon engagement.
But, Your Excellency,
The justice system in our country may be in its infancy, but rest assured, all reasonable doubt must be dispelled before I am prepared to pass judgment.
Sora, good morning. How are you?
Thank you, Your Excellency. Oh, hello.
Oh, Laddie Tengu. Lady Tengu? Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the Mew crew. How are you? That's the reason she took the glass. I think you're right. I think you're very right. 'Cause that was the poison glass. Because also, it's just sort of like, why was he sitting over there? Like, she moved everything. Got a swan on her head. Swans are sus.
What was that smile?
I'm okay, and you? I'm doing great. Welcome.
Yes, of course. I mean,
Oh,
I'd be delighted to help. Especially if it helps relations between my country and yours.
Miss Brett, you speak Japanese.
boys Bakusko.
Well, of course I do. I am studying in your country after all.
But then, why have you been speaking through an interpreter until now?
My mother tongue, the Queen's English, is the most refined and elegant language in the world.
As a gentlewoman, I try to avoid speaking in your vulgar tones as much as possible.
Oh, boy. Everyone's been simping for her, and then she's like, nah, y'all suck.
But it seems the men in this land possess none of the chivalrous virtues of English gentlemen. So I can see that I shall have to lower myself communicating with you all on your own level.
Oh, well, you are the epitome of a true English gentlewoman. We are truly honored by this lavish consideration you so graciously afford us. Stop, come on.
I see. In that case, Ms. Brett, I will now ask you to testify in your own words about the events leading up to the death of the victim, Dr. Wilson.
Now that English is elegant. So we're finally going to hear her own words on the matter.
Things are getting interesting, Ryunosuke.
Yeah, thank you. No, I know. You're not wrong. I've been interested because I might go to jail.
Unfortunately, I have no idea when the poor man burnt his wrist like that. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in a toast. As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death beside the gunshot. If there's some other way a man's life could be taken without leaving a trace, please do show me.
No one's ever just friends. Sus. Gunsling hello!
But of course, this country's inferior investigative techniques probably wouldn't pick up on it anyway.
This isn't a very good English accent. I'm gonna see what I can do. I'm kind of trying to keep her, like, short and sweet, but English is long and long and long. English. England English.
This most captivating and beautiful testimony will go down in the...
What?
That most captivating and beautiful testimony will go down in the Supreme Court's history. Thank you.
Why are they all so swayed? They can't even see all of her face to, like, see... you know what I mean? I don't know. Easy does it.
I hope this is the last time I will have to sully my lips with your coarse tongues of your unbecoming...
tones of your unbecoming tongue.
Oh, forgive me. I do hope I haven't insulted anyone.
Not at all, not at all. It is a delight merely to hear you speak, dear lady. It seems very clear from your testimony that this boorish talk of the victim's burn is utterly irrelevant.
I will be speaking to your country's Minister of Justice about what has happened here today.
The Minister of Justice? All of them. Shrimps, all of them.
May that irritating little bully of a student be given the harshest punishment possible.
Amen. Hallelujah.
Thanks. Was that a prayer for that?
Well, you'll have to forgive the irritation, Ms. Brett, and put up with a cross-examination now.
I expect you've noticed that this little bully of a student, as you put it, doesn't miss much.
Court case is getting political.
I'm sure I don't need to remind you, counsel, that this will be your final cross-examination in this trial. You failed to demonstrate any problems with this witness's testimony. I will be ruling on the case immediately. Is that clear?
We're always just like on our final straw. Whoa! Slap of the face.
Yes, Your Excellency.
Then you may proceed with the cross-examination.
Fortunately, I have no idea when the poor man burned his wrist like that. Press!
But his hand was on the searing hot plate for at least 3 whole seconds. You can't have not noticed. Do you think so? Let me ask you something.
I'm making her like French for some reason.
Sorry? Ever since I arrived at this courtroom, and even still now, the fly on those unsightly black trousers of yours has been wide open.
You can't have not noticed, can you?
Huh? What?
Ah!
Haha, what fun! You hadn't realized.
The dear lady is absolutely right.
As your friend, you've embarrassed me as well as yourself,
Why didn't you tell me? Dr. Wilson was a true gentleman, a true English gentleman. He chose honorable silence over a vulgar scream. Can your tiny brains imagine such a thing?
Oh yes, I think my tiny brain can. Stop!
You have to stop, Ouchie. You have to. You asking me to accuse someone without any evidence in a courtroom? That sounds really good. Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Yes! Yes! Well, I can't. Anyway. The waiter brought my steak. The professor and I raised our glasses in a toast. As you testified before, you were drinking carbonated water, is that right?
Dr. Wilson was only permitted to drink water at the time, if you remember. Which explains why he ordered that drink. Correct, waiter?
Exactly as you say, sir.
Although,
whether or not the professor actually drank any of the water when I delivered the steak to the table, I'm afraid I don't remember that.
damn you.
Ah! I have enough English to understand that, at least. For the benefit of others in the court, it means bless you.
I think it means the exact opposite.
Anyway,
As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot. Yes, it's written here in the paperwork. Fatal hemorrhage from ballistic trauma. Yes.
Luckily for all of us, a little burn on the wrist isn't going to kill us.
little burn. That's a big burn.
As there was no other sign of trauma on the victim's body to indicate some other cause of death.
Bang him a head sword right now.
It can only have been the bullet from your gun that put an end to his innocent man's life.
But it doesn't make sense. The burn must have happened straight away when the plate was first brought to the table by the waiter.
Yes, that's true. If it had cooled even slightly, it wouldn't have been able to make a burn like that.
And if the victim's burnt his wrist on the hot plate as soon as it was brought out from the kitchen, then he must have already been dead at that point.
Objection! And yet, the fact that the victim was killed by a gunshot to the chest, until you're able to show the court evidence to disprove that, this is a complete waste of time.
I concur. Prosecutor Ouchie is right.
Ah. If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please do show me.
Yes!
We don't have any poisonous proof.
Without leaving a trace. If someone is shot or strangled or stabbed or thrown from a height, however a person's life is taken, there's always telltale traces on the body.
Quite right, dear lady. And as our police force has thoroughly examined the body of the deceased, there can be no doubt.
Did she produce the glass? I hope so.
Isn't that right, Inspector Hosonaga?
As I've said, I always aim for a flawless investigation.
There would be physical traces with all those causes of death, that's true. But maybe there's some other way of killing someone that doesn't leave a mark. If, heaven forbid, you doubt me, young man, you're going to have to tell everyone how exactly you think the professor did lose his life. Otherwise, I'm afraid your argument falls rather flat, doesn't it?
Oh no, perish the thought, calling such a sweet young lady's innocence into question. On my honor, I, Takasuchi Ouchie, will cut down any who dare to cast aspersions.
Way of killing someone that leaves no trace.
We need some evidence to back us up here.
Yes, evidence. But of course, this country's...
What was the last thing she said? Yeah, hold on a sec. We'll press the last thing.
Yes!
And then I'll check the evidence.
Inferior? What do you mean by that? In the lands of the Great British Empire, the police store everything found at the crime scene for later examination. But in this country, you investigate once and that's the end of it. Isn't that so?
Quite right. Le Carnival is open for business as usual today, just days after the incident.
Exactly. Which means that even if the investigation takes a different direction, vital evidence may be lost.
What happened?
It doesn't even occur to your naive detectives to try and preserve the crime scene. I'm trying to be as tactful about this as I can, you understand.
Haha! Killer blow! This lady is as formidable as she is beautiful.
Why did I make it? Why was he like from Boston?
Hey yo, I'm Prosecutor Ouchie over here.
Amazing. He's actually admitting our police may be flawed. Perhaps Prosecutor Ouchie is finally just starting to see sense.
I very much doubt that.
Still, there's something about what Ms. Brett just said. There was a moment before when something didn't seem quite right.
What do you think? What do you think, Ryunosuke? I yawned. Mr. Edgeworth, because you're rude, definitely guilty of genocide. Adjourned. Hydrate, you got it. Star! Hello. Hello, Star.
I think it's going terribly. No matter how much I press her, I'm not turning up any new information.
Yes, as I suspected, she's a tough witness. We need to find a way to break her testimony, or the cross-examination will be over. I know you've been here the whole time, but, like, I forgot.
But that would mean I have to find a way. There must be some clue somewhere to help us find, a problem. Kazuma.
What, Ryunosuke?
There is one thing I noticed, something that's bothering me.
Bothering you? You mean... There's a lot going on, Star. I'm sorry. Working on your website. Hell yeah. Bothering you? You mean about Ms. Brett?
Actually, no. About the person standing next to her. Inspector Hosanaga.
The detective? The detective?
Yes, he seemed to react a little strangely to Ms. Brett's last statement.
Star, I love you. Sorry.
He seemed to react a little strangely. I was wondering if it might be significant, if I might present an opening, maybe.
Alright, I have an idea. Try pressing her on that last statement one more time.
If you think so, but
this time, instead of targeting the woman herself, let's see what we can get out of the detective. This is a cool thing this game does. I don't really remember all the particulars of this case because it's been 2 years, but I kind of remember the broad strokes a little bit. Press.
yes! Yes!
Here, what do you mean by that? Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Agada boogity hoosh. There we go. Now what?
Yes, there it is again. The detective's reaction is just the same as before. Why?
Up until now, the detective has been in the stand with Ms. Brett as her interpreter. But things are very different now. For this testimony, the detective is just listening to what the Englishwoman has to say. This could be a golden opportunity.
What do you mean?
When people are actually testifying, they're usually very careful not to let anything slip. However, when they're listening to someone else speak, you'll find they often let their guard down.
You're right. Look at him. He's lost in his own thoughts.
It's time to pursue the man in this train of thought.
Bibbidi boppity boo. Sorry, pursue.
I'll explain how to do it now, Ryunosuke. It's all to do with the witness marker.
Marker.
The moment we're focused on Ms. Brett, who's the person actually making the current statements.
Whoop. Whoop. Whoop.
But by moving the marker left and right with the A and D buttons, you know what those are, right? On a keyboard?
What's a keyboard?
Well, you see, in the future, you can turn your attention to other people in the stand. While you're looking at the other witnesses, you'll be able to pursue them with space. You know, outer space.
What's outer space?
Well, if you go up high enough into the stratosphere. What's the stratosphere? Catch a person at the right time, you might uncover some new information to pursue. If you ever notice a strange atmosphere amongst the people in the stand, take a good look around.
All right, then. So first I should move the marker across and focus on the detective. And pursue him! Here we go.
Ba-ba-ba-ba. All right, let's move it over. Come on. There we go. And then we pursue him.
Excuse me.
Excuse me. What's the meaning of this? Ahem, ahem, ahem. Cough, 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 cough.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to shock you. He really was lost in his own thoughts. Deeply.
It looked like you were thinking something just now, Inspector. Perhaps having heard what the lady next to you had to say?
If there's something you'd like to say, please, share it with the court.
Objection! What is the meaning of this? It's the delightful Englishwoman who's testifying at the moment. If you can't find fault with her testimony, then the cross-examination should be over immediately.
It's a sphere, but Atmo.
Oh, is that how it works?
Absolutely not.
Hmm?
The detective is in the stand, which makes him a valid witness.
Yes, not to mention the fact that he's intimately involved in the case.
Inspector Hosonaga,
Yes.
do you have something to add in relation to the statement just made by Ms. Brett?
Watching the stream while drawing. Hell yeah, what are you drawing?
Well, yes, if you don't mind, I would like to speak.
Go for it, bud. The lady is right. Our country's police practices are not as modern as those used in Great Britain.
Which is why I, Satoru Hosonaga, always strive to make every investigation I'm involved in flawless.
What do you really mean by that?
I'll tell you what I mean. I won't have evidence lacking on my watch. I'm not afraid to take everything I can from the scene of the crime. It's preserving evidence, you see. I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief. I'm not ashamed of what I've done.
A crime scene thief?
Well, it looks like the lady's remarks touched a nerve there. This, for example. Uh-oh!
Is that...
This is the bottle of carbonated water that I took from the victim's table on the day in question. And yes, it's lost all its fizz, having been opened 3 days ago now. But it was carbonated water. I don't care what anyone says.
Yes, there's some left in the bottle. I can see it.
One day our police force will be among the best in the world. Time is coming, I guarantee it. Hem, 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 cough, cough, cough. I can't say I condone the witness's actions, but I do understand the sentiment. The court will accept the glass bottle of water as evidence.
Carbonated water. Oh my god.
Ms. Brett, can you confirm that this is indeed the bottle of which you drank from the day of the victim's death?
Yes, it was that bottle. What was that about? She seemed to avert her eyes when she answered the question.
Very well. Counsel, you may resume your cross-examination. And the inspector will kindly control his fervor. Ahem.
Cough, cough, cough. Oh. Okay. So let's examine the bottle, huh? Okay, so we can, I guess I can use the mouse for this too. So let's, check this. The label is written in a foreign language that I don't recognize. Do you know what it says, Kazuma?
I think it's French. It must be very expensive water.
Yes, but what does it say? That's what I'm asking.
Then go to France and ask.
You could just say that you don't know. Carbonated water is the last drink Dr. Wilson ever had. Looks like there's a little left.
Looks like there's a little left in the bottle, although it's plain water now.
You know, I've been sweating so much, I'm absolutely parched. I'll just have a sip of this to keep me going.
No, Ryunosuke, you can't do that. For one thing, that's evidence. You can't go drinking evidence.
Oh no, you're right. We don't know what might be inside, do we?
You never cease to amaze me, Ryunosuke, in more ways than one.
I wonder, could there be anything in this water?
What's the matter? You've gone quiet all of a sudden.
I think I might have just worked something out, an interesting possibility.
Okay, so there's not a lot to, like, look at. on the bottle. But okay, so let's go through the statements again. No idea when the poor man burnt his wrist like that. Would have brought my steak. The person and I raised our glasses in a toast. No possible cause of death besides the gunshot. There it is. Okay. Let's present the bottle now. Present.
Yes! Yes!
4 hours, hell yeah.
What is this, the bottle of water?
Actually, there is one method of killing a man without leaving a trace that comes to mind. Uh-oh, she's getting nervous. Obviously, I'm referring to poison.
Poison?
On the day of his death, we know that Dr. Wilson drank from this bottle of carbonated water. Could it be that there was poison inside? Could it be that the professor actually died after taking a sip from his glass? Oh my god!
Order, order, order!
And on that day, who was sitting at the same table as the professor and able to slip poison into his drink? There's only one person who could have possibly done that. Jezael Brett, it was you!
Objection!
This is outrageous to suggest such a thing without a scrap of evidence. You little rookie imbecile. Have you even considered the delicate situation our country finds itself in now? Have you forgotten that we only just signed an accord of friendship with the British Empire? Have you even the vaguest inkling that your rash accusation could jeopardize the entire treaty?
Objection!
This is not a political arena. This is a trial to determine one's individual guilt with respect to one crime.
What?
The fact that this woman is British makes no difference. We are here to determine the truth. Ahem. If I may.
I will silence you forever in this disgraceful attack on the...
Oh my god. She said shut up. It is you who should be silent. Got him.
Of course.
Dear lady! Where did that come from? She just snapped. I'm afraid I may have spoken unfairly before. I offer my most humble apologies.
I'm sorry, my lady. To what are you referring?
I described your police force as inferior. But no matter how inferior they may be, still investigated this particular point thoroughly, I believe. This bottle, I mean, Inspector, and whether it contained poison or not.
Of course.
You did? Have you forgotten what my guiding principle is already? I strive for a flawless investigation every time. I don't believe it. Naturally, we tested the inside of the bottle and its contents.
And? What did you find, Inspector?
I ordered tests for every toxin that's available in this country at the present time. The olden days, I mean now, we could find no trace of poison of any description in the bottle of carbonated water, Your Excellency.
What? Are you sure?
The tests were meticulously carried out by the chief coroner himself. No. No! Uh-oh. I'm very grateful to all you Japanese. You've successfully established my complete innocence in this horrid affair. Thank you.
But of course, dear lady, the pleasure was all ours.
I was so sure.
This can't be right. Everything falls into place if he was poisoned. Thank you, counsel. I think the cross-examination has clarified everything. As the prosecution have asserted, a shot through the chest from this gun is the only conceivable cause of death. Furthermore, the accused, who by his own admission was holding this weapon, is the only possible culprit.
Yeah, they are forgetting the glass she took. Well, they are definitely forgetting that glass. I'm done for.
Court wishes to apologize to the great inconvenience this has caused you, Miss Brett.
Oh no, I'm just glad the matter was resolved.
Before proceeding, I must ask the counsel for the defense. Do you have any further new evidence to present to court at this time?
Kazuma? I'm sorry, Ryunosuke. I have nothing more.
What about the glass? Well, if you'll excuse me now, I really must be leaving.
All like, hold it. Oh, it's the, oh yeah! Hello. Getting gay at Chick-fil-A. Oh God, hello, how are you?
Please wait! Isn't that...
What is the meaning of this?
Forgive me for intruding on court proceedings, Your Excellency. Susato Mikatoba, Judicial Assistant to the Defense.
Mikatoba? I love her.
My darkest hour, with nowhere left to go, she appeared like a bolt of lightning.
It's me every day except someday.
And in her hand, she carried a small package wrapped in a...
Furoshiki cloth, I don't know what that is. To be continued. Oh, baby, baby. Ooh, baby, baby. I would love to save. I'm gonna take this seems like a perfect time to take a bathroom break. So I'm gonna go do that. I'll be right back, but I'm gonna, I'll put the music on. I'll put the music on so that it's not silent. Holy shit, it's gonna be great. That's pretty loud, though. Okay. Alright, I'll be right back. I love you. One moment. Oh my God. I'm back. What do you mean, Bwomp? You all should be cheering. I'm just kidding. Welcome back. Thank you. All right, let me, oh God. Let me sit in the right spot here. Hello. Hello, jolly good. Hello. All right. Boom. Let's solve this. Let's crack this nut, baby. Let me click in the game, maybe. There we go. Woo, 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 woo. Boopity boop, bop, boop, bop, 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 boop, boop, boop. Boop. I love her. She'll never be as good as Maya, but, like, I love her just the same.
Well, I understand you are the judicial assistant to the defense, but why the sudden ingress into my courtroom?
Ha, judicial assistant, and a woman no less. We're sexist too, don't forget. We're just the worst. The rules state that females are not permitted into this court of law to testify.
Yes, I fully understand. I ask only for 5 minutes of time. I have some vital evidence that I must hand over to the defense.
Ha! You're too late, little girl. The trial has already been concluded.
Oh. 5 minutes. I will not allow a moment more. He's really good at being like, just a little bit more.
What? Your Excellency!
I am most grateful. Hello. Who exactly are you? I'm sorry, there's no time. Please simply accept this for now.
What is it? A report about something written in English?
Shut up, Shrimp Man.
Gore singing entrance, hell yeah.
It's Zelbrett's research.
The Englishwoman's?
After the trial resumed earlier, I hurried back to the university. I went to Dr. Wilson's laboratory in the medical faculty and borrowed this paper.
Oh yes, that's right. Miss Brett was studying under the professor, wasn't she?
So does this research, whatever it is, have something to do with the case? I'm afraid I don't know. I haven't been able to listen to the proceedings of the trial myself.
Oh, no, of course not. Special characteristics of Curie and its effects on human subjects. Curar? Maybe? Interesting.
Curar? What's that? I've never heard of that word before. Boop. Time's up! The prosecution demands the immediate removal of this female trespasser from the courtroom.
There was too little time for me to read it in detail, but I've summarized what I could on a note just inside the cover. If you think it could be valuable, please cast your eye over it.
This is wonderful, thank you. Sales report has been entered to the record, baby.
Goodbye then. Forever. Good luck. I'll never see each other again. Definitely for sure. Goodbye.
We've had long enough, Counsel. We cannot detain our English guest any longer. I ask the prosecution and the defense now one last time. Does either side have any further evidence to present to the court? I presume not, but...
The prosecution has made its case convincingly enough already. Nothing more to add, Your Excellency.
Ryunosuke, we're out of options here. This really is our very last chance.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
Your Excellency, the defense does have new evidence.
That look. That unyielding stare of a true Japanese warrior. Well, Ms. Brett?
Yes, Your Excellency.
If you wouldn't mind, perhaps you could grace us with your presence a little longer.
It's a delightful invitation, but I'm afraid it's not so very long until tea time. I'll have to politely decline.
Forgive me, Miss Brett. It seems I wasn't clear. I realized it was phrased as a question. However, I must ask you to treat that as an order.
Got him!
Boop, 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 boop. As I've said it many times before, but Japanese language makes no sense.
All right. Oh, Jesus, gritting his teeth.
My apologies, dear lady.
Boop.
So, Counsel, what is this new evidence that demands the court's attention?
All right, let's examine this. Oh. It's about poison! Poison made from the bark of certain trees in the jungles of South America. The hunters of the region have used it since ancient times to incapacitate their prey. Effects instant paralysis of the entire body and subsequent death, even in minute doses. Route of entry, the above-mentioned effects occur when the poison enters the body through a wound, such as that inflicted by a blowpipe dart. Due to its ability to render the human body paralytic, it's believed that the toxin could have application as an anesthetic. However, a solution for the respiratory arrest caused as a result for the full body paralysis must be found first, or patients would die of suffocation. Yeah, I mean, it's just like this. So, I mean, I'll present it.
Yes!
It's nothing new.
Mr. Zelbrat, we understand you were studying under Dr. Wilson at Yuma University, doing research. Research, by sheer coincidence, perhaps, to a deadly poison.
What?
Poison? Where are you going with this, Counsel?
toxin known as curare, Your Excellency. Even the slightest amount of this deadly poison entering the body leads to instant death.
Objection! What's complete and utter nonsense? Curare, you say? I've never even heard of it.
You wouldn't have done.
What do you mean?
I mean that you wouldn't have heard of curare before for one simple reason. It doesn't exist in our country. Doesn't exist.
Correct. Which means, no matter what tests the police can do for toxins, they'd never identify curare. Why? Because there is no test available here that can identify the presence of this highly deadly poison.
What?
Oh my god.
Bop.
Order! Council, does this deadly poison truly exist? According to this report authored by the visiting research student from England, curare has been used by the tribespeople of South America as a poison to lace their arrows. It seems that it's reasonably well known among European doctors and scientists.
To lace their arrows?
The report states that it is produced from the extract of a tree that grows deep in the Amazonian jungle.
Finished drawing scales? Hell yeah, you got this. I believe in you.
It was first brought back to Europe at the turn of the century by explorers. Claims that animals shot by arrows laced with curare suffer instant death. Doesn't that about sum it up, Ms. Brett?
Objection! Trumpery! These aspersions are utter trumpery! To start with, the victim had been administered some of this so-called deadly poison. He would have been squirming and writhing in pain. The other diners surely would have noticed.
That's true. What do you have to say to that, Inspector? Obviously, I would have noticed a disturbance like that.
I don't remember anything like that either. I didn't notice the professor being in any kind of pain.
According to this, however, it's the other way around.
Trumpery, stupid and ridiculous.
Yeah. What do you mean the other way around?
The very fact that the victim didn't show any visible signs of distress is evidence that curare was used. Explain yourself, Counsel. The moment the toxin enters a person's system, it causes instant paralysis. In other words, afflicted victims lose all strength and are completely unable to move. Even if they were in total agony, there would be no visible signs of pain at all. How terrible. Obviously, if a man lost all strength in his muscles, he'd collapse on the floor. But with a chair under him for support, as Mr. Wilson did, the effects could go largely unnoticed.
But I don't follow, Kazuma. That's this paralysis. I thought the poison caused instant death.
The full explanation is extremely unpleasant. Poison that causes immediate paralysis, as I said, leaving the victim unable to move. But after a short time, the paralysis is so severe it causes the muscles that control respiration to fail.
Respiration?
In other words, the actual cause of death is suffocation. And all the while, the victim is conscious and aware, just unable to move.
That's hideous.
To the observer, it would look almost like the victim was slipping peacefully into an endless sleep. But for the victim himself, his final moments would be a living hell. That is the true nature of this deadly curare poison.
Wow.
And you're suggesting that this bottle, Counsel, actually contains this terrifying poison?
Objection! This is all very convenient, isn't it? A hitherto unknown poison for which there are no means of testing. What a happy tale for the defense.
If I may.
All these facts, you think you're so clever, but you must...
Shut up! 'Tis you who must be taught.
Of course. Dear lady.
So, this is how you Japanese behave, is it? What? You steal another's honest work, and then announce the results as if you discovered them. I'm appalled. What a loathsome act.
Well, Ms. Brett, the feeling is mutual.
Whatever do you mean?
Capitalizing on the unfortunate circumstances of an innocent man to frame him for a heinous crime? That really is a loathsome act, wouldn't you agree?
Enough of this. I, for one, refuse to accept it. The idea of some poison that doesn't exist in the Great Empire of Japan is breaking the rules.
Ha ha ha. What's so funny? Oh, excuse me, Your Excellency.
Yes, Miss Brett?
May I borrow that bottle for a moment, please? Uh-oh, don't let her do it.
Well, yes, I don't see...
Hi, Pika.
I don't see why not. You're gonna break it. What are you talking about?
Stop.
Ouch. Ouchie. Prosecutor Ouchie.
Don't get too big for your boots, you insignificant little island boys.
Sorry.
To an Englishwoman such as myself, this whole affair is a farcical comedy. Your little police games and these foolish courtroom antics, it's laughable, really. But I'm getting bored of it all now. It's time for the games to end. Cheers. Then she died. The end. Wait, what are you doing? No sparkle left at all. How appropriate for this shabby affair.
How are you, Biga? Everybody's like, oh my god. Tampering with the evidence. That means it was in the cup. The cup she took. The glass, I mean.
Goodness. Whatever is the matter? You all look quite stunned.
Doing some cleaning. I'm doing good. We're gonna solve this case, baby. So, no curare. The bottle was clean. Is that what you're saying?
Ha 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 ha. You look quite incredulous, little boy. But of course... Whoa! That's the simple truth. Thank you for presenting the findings of my research so concisely here in this grand venue. Most kind.
Ugh.
Thank you, waiter. Now then, Your Excellency.
Yes, Miss Brett?
I should like to be excused now, please. I think I've given more than enough of my time for the furtherance of friendship between our countries.
Yes, dear lady. We are most gratified with all the assistance you have given. This doesn't make sense. There had to have been poison in that bottle. So how? How did she swallow a whole glass and live to tell the tale?
I think it was in the glass she took.
Don't understand it.
Well, I suppose, if nothing else, this little Far Eastern charade will make for interesting conversation at the next party I attend in London. There has to be have been poison in that bottle, doesn't there? But there can't have been, otherwise she would have keeled over dead. Come on, Ryunosuke, we have all the clues now. That bottle of water
Contains no poison. I don't think it has any poison. It's in the cup. I don't remember. I played this already, but I don't remember.
As I thought, there is no poison in that bottle.
What? Why, Ryunosuke?
Isn't it obvious? If there was poison in there, she'd be dead by now.
Sometimes your unadulterated naivete really astounds me. Sometimes it's in need of a good staining. Until it's as dark as the uniform in the ways of the world.
Oh, is that what this color is supposed to represent?
Was that wrong? Oh.
That was a guileless ending to a promising line of inquiry, counsel, for which you will be penalized.
This whole trial is poison. There had to have been poison in that bottle, doesn't there? There can't have been, otherwise she would have been killed over dead.
Yeah, maybe she does have an anti-poison. I guess so.
The culprit did put curare poison in Dr. Wilson's carbonated water. The defense refuses to change its position.
You're serious?
Fool, are you blind? There is no possible way that bottle could contain poison. I mean, we just saw.
Miss Brett drinking the water from it?
That's right. Which rather complicates your argument, I think. Burritos, Star, burritos.
And I believe that complication can be explained.
How exactly?
I need to think through all the things that don't quite add up here, one by one. I'm sure the answer is in the evidence we have in the court record somewhere. It has to be.
Hydrate, you got it.
Very well, if the defense truly intends to assert this claim, then I must ask you to support the assertion with evidence. What explains how the witness was able to consume...
Okay, so I think, let's read this again. I think maybe... So, maybe it needs to enter through a wound. Maybe ingesting it is fine. But... I don't know. Oh! Yeah, it needs to be through a wound, but he just got his teeth all messed up. So, I'll present this.
Yes! Yes! The answer to this riddle is right here in Ms. Brett's own research report.
Objection! That's not a valid explanation.
No.
After all, we don't speak English. This report is utter gibberish. This impudent young scoundrel is trying to ridicule the court, Your Excellency.
I'm not trying to ridicule anyone, honest. I'm just reading Susato-san's notes.
I concur. This report is too extensive to be considered in its entirety by the court. You will direct us to the pertinent section, counsel.
I can do that.
Oh. I think it's just the second one. Yeah.
We've been hearing a lot about this curare poison. And it's left me curious about something. Curious.
Oh, counsel?
Well, it sounds as though the indigenous hunters have been using this poison for years and years. To lace the heads of the arrows when they shoot whatever prey they're hunting.
We've been led to believe, yes.
And the point of hunting is to catch and prey to eat.
Get to the point, please.
But if they use this... If they were used to lace... What? If they were to use these laced arrows, doesn't that mean there would be traces of poison left in the prey the hunters were going to eat?
Yes, good point.
So surely the hunters wouldn't want to eat their prey, would they? Because then they'd be eating poison.
Good gracious, counsel, no, that would be madness.
But I actually found the answer to that conundrum in this research paper here. Under special characteristics, it says this. Excuse me. The poison starts to work after entering the body through a wound.
Through a wound, you say? I see, that makes sense.
Yes, the mention of that particular detail seemed a little strange to me, too. But it all makes sense when you interpret what's written like this. When curare enters the body through an open wound, it has terrifying poisonous effects. However,
Yeah!
when it enters the body via the mouth, it has no poisonous effects whatsoever.
What?
Ms. Brett, you authored this research. You knew this curare's special characteristics. And you knew that you could make a spectacle of drinking that water without any danger to yourself. You meddling little... Whoa! Rapscallion! The swan's alive.
Well, Ryunosuke, it turns out you're an even better lawyer than I thought you'd be.
Really? Me? A lawyer?
Owl. All this poison talk is fascinating, I'm sure. But I fail to see how it possibly...
So, this ill-bred little puppy has a new toy to play with, some facts he read in a book. But I'm afraid knowledge doesn't suit you, little boy. It only makes you look silly. What are you trying to say? Your schoolboyish logic has a fatal flaw. Schoolboyish?
Law?
Even as your brain has managed to deduce, curare is safe to ingest. Seems likely that its effects are neutralized by the acidic nature of the gastric sucus. Oh, yes, well, of course. Gastric suckers, what are they? So if this lethal poison is completely harmless when drunk, the professor wouldn't have died when he swallowed it, would he?
Ah! That's right. Good gracious.
That's basic science. Science that even a schoolboy should be able to understand, no? I don't know. Everybody's so quick to forget that he had open wounds in his mouth.
Order, order in the court. The logic holds. If the lady and the professor drank the same poison, they would be affected in the same way.
Are you trying to suggest...
Yes, this curare poison is completely irrelevant to the case on trial.
That's right. Surely even a little cockroach like you...
See, the mask, like, extends all out. She's angry.
could understand something as simple as that. What is this welling up inside me? I've never felt like this before. It's a sort of conviction to break down all the discrepancies. It's so intense, almost rage-like. And more than anything else, it's an animalistic desire to take down my prey.
All right. Yeah!
Objection!
Get him! It's his first baby's first objection.
I don't think so, Miss Giselle Brett. How dare you use that tone with me? You know very well that there is no fatal flaw here. You know exactly why, even though both you and the victim swallowed the same poison. You are alive, but Dr. Wilson is dead.
Counsel, I'm sure I don't need to remind you. You must provide compelling evidence, as we now know that this poison is completely harmless when ingested. Why would Dr. Wilson alone have been killed by it? Where's the medical report card?
Take that!
Yeah!
As Ms. Brett so readily pointed out, she drank the same water as the professor. However, there was a fundamental and fatal difference between the two diners.
A fatal difference?
The toxic effects of curare can only be felt when the poison enters the body through an open wound. So, for a healthy person with no injuries, drinking it is completely harmless. But what if there was a wound inside the mouth of the person drinking the poisoned water?
Inside?
Yes, like the wound you might have if you had just been to the dentist and had a tooth extracted, for example. Ms. Brett, you acknowledged many times in your testimony already that you were well aware of Dr. Wilson's dental appointment that day.
So that's it. You use that knowledge to orchestrate this. Hey, yo!
Is she laughing? I don't like to repeat myself, but honestly, I can't resist. These childish courtroom games and your half-baked arguments are so puerile. What do you mean? Don't worry, little schoolboy. You'll find out soon enough. Whoa! Whoa! Uh-oh. You see, when you leave vital evidence lying around, you never know what might happen to it. No. I mean, it could just slip. Oops. Uh-oh. Oh dear, how careless of me. I'm afraid some crucial evidence may have just been tragically destroyed. No!
What?
What is it? What just happened? It's an Englishwoman. She just smashed that bottle. In the Supreme Court, what a terrible blunder. Officer, what are you waiting for? Collect as much of the water from that broken bottle as possible at once.
Sorry, we do. Hello. How can I let her do that? Sorry. You're wasting your time. This delightful carpet under my feet here was a gift from the British Empire. I assure you it will soak up the water beautifully. You have neither the technology nor the presence of mind
to recover it. How
could you? You won't get away with this. You can thump the bench and shout as much as you like, little boy. But I'm afraid we'll never know now, will we? If there really was poison in the bottle or not.
you...
And let us not forget, we still have some very compelling evidence left intact. Isn't that right, counsel for the prosecution?
Oh, of course, of course. You're referring to this photographic print, I presume, dear lady.
That's right, and really, looking at this photograph, it's as clear as day, isn't it? The poor professor was sitting with his back to me. So, of course, the only person who could have shot him from the front is the little schoolboy.
Objection!
No, you killed the victim that day using karare. And then, in order to frame Ryunosuke Naruhodo for the crime, you waited until he picked up the pistol you'd arranged for him to find on the floor before you shot the professor's dead body in the chest with your own hidden gun. Then, in the confusion that followed, all you had to do was turn the dead professor and his chair around. You see, you had every opportunity to commit this crime.
What a wonderful imagination you have, young man. A hidden gun, you say, and I shot the professor's dead body, did I? Well, I'm terribly sorry, but you don't have a shred of evidence.
Exactly. And as you have nothing to support your wild claims, the prosecution's stance remains unchanged. The victim, Dr. John Wilson, was killed by a gunshot to the chest. Delivered in cold blood by the accused, Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
This is unbelievable. How can this be happening? We had her, but now... Is she really going to get away with this? The way she destroyed that evidence was obscene.
Ryunosuke,
Yes?
we've come this far, but now you're the only one who can finish it. Give me 1 sec. Sorry, y'all. I'm not sure, but I might be getting another migraine. So I gotta take Advil, lest I perish. Maybe I'm not, but I feel like maybe I am. We'll finish this case at the very least. We've come so far.
What? What do you mean?
Lost a vital piece of evidence, it's true, so if there are any clues left for us to use now, they must be in your head.
In my head?
You told me before that your powers of observation were the one thing you could really depend on. Just year through the courtroom wall. I think that'll go well.
Well, yes, that's true, but I didn't manage to notice that this woman was a foreigner with a swan on her head.
Think back again now. Try to remember every last detail about the scene that day. Everything you saw, everything you felt, every color, every smell.
What I saw, what I felt. Every color.
Hey, yo!
Is Kazuma right? Somewhere in the vibrant memory of the same scene in my head. Could there be another clue to expose
The identity of Dr. What is a clue? Maybe it's his blood.
Actually, Kazuma, I think I might have something. Thinking back over everything I saw, I think I might have uncovered another clue.
Ahaha! You always have something up your sleeve, don't you, Ryunosuke? Boom. Come on, then. Let's wipe that smug smile off the Englishwoman's face with some evidence.
Boom. All right. I can't wait.
Let's do it, baby. What is that word? I don't want to say that word. It's been bothering me for a while. Something feels amiss in the memories of my day.
Whatever it is could be the key of arriving at the truth about all this.
It's here somewhere. Where could it be? Oh, I don't know. Is it maybe just all this blood?
Inspector Osanaga, answer me this.
Yes? What is it?
Get your burrito, baby. He's still miles away, probably thinking about that bottle being smashed. As you've said a number of times now, you strive for perfection in your investigations, don't you?
Absolutely.
I wonder, therefore, if perhaps you took anything else from the scene of the crime. Like, for instance, a plate of steak that you took to the victim's table that day.
Objection! Wait a minute. Where are you going with this?
Where are you going with this, little boy?
Burrito.
It's just a memory that's been troubling me. A memory? I saw the scene shown in this photographic print with my own eyes that day. And I saw that on the wooden base of the plate that the steak was served on was a spattering of blood.
What?
Oh, really? And what of it? Obviously, that must have happened when you shot the professor. No, that can't be the case. Take a good look at this photograph and the relative position of everything here. The plate of steak is almost directly behind the victim. If I'm supposed to have shot Dr. Wilson in the chest from the front, there's no way that blood from the victim could have ended up directly behind him. Ah!
Yes. For blood to have made it onto the plate, it implies the plate was between the victim and the shooter. Which means the shooter must have been sitting opposite the professor, as you were. Giselle Brett.
I beg your pardon? This is beyond ridiculous. If the court seriously expected to believe something the accused has apparently just remembered seeing.
Hold it!
This could be the moment that my entire career in the police force has been leading to.
Inspector, you mean...
Yes, I took the plate, in the interest of preserving evidence from the scene of the crime. I took it, meat and all, and I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief because of it.
Welcome back, B.
You did what?
I took the steak that you had been eating, Miss Brett. I took the steak that the sergeant had been eating. And I did it all in the name of justice.
Then we can find out for sure whether or not there's a bloodstain on Ms. Brett's plate. We must examine it now!
Inspector! The court wishes to examine the plate from the victim's table immediately.
Yes, sir.
There's more meat to this case than we thought is true. Here's a 3-day-old steak. Sorry for the delay. Here is what you ordered, the steak.
Well, what about the blood? Is there any blood on it?
Of course there isn't.
Quickly, Inspector, the blood man! Show the court! Of course, examine the plate at your leisure. There's no blood on it.
No, no blood. No blood anywhere. But no, that's impossible! I know I saw it, I'm sure of it. It was right there on the table behind the professor. There was blood on the side of the plate. What an unbecoming expression, little boy. You see, this is why I always say you can't trust what the Japanese tell you. God. Ah!
I couldn't agree more. In the case of this disgrace to the Empire. Stop.
Osty, hello.
Ugh. Alright, my cup of tea is gone. I have a bottle of tea now. It's not often I get 2 migraines in a row. I definitely am getting a migraine, but I think we're nearing the end of this case. I believe we may have finally reached a conclusion in this trial.
Let's hope so. Let's pretend attempt at courtroom proceedings is painful to watch. But I promise to do my best to forget all about it when it's over.
Ha! This sorry-looking steak reveals the facts all too clearly. If the sorry-looking accused wish to examine it again, be my guest.
Plate of steak has been entered to the court record. I think I remember what's going on with this steak. It's a plate I saw, or I thought I saw, just a figment of my imagination. This is it now, I've lost.
Ryunosuke, it's not over yet. Not until the final gavel. Never stop believing in yourself. Keep looking forward, no matter what.
I'm gonna spill the tea on the British lady. Believe in myself, really?
Maybe I should examine the evidence. Oh, I'm gonna.
Let's examine the steak. Ooh, baby.
Yeah, what's under there?
Huh? What in the world is this?
I think it's a Koban coin, and the hallmark is from the Hoei era, I believe.
No, I don't mean what is it? I mean, what's it doing there? Wait, did you say it was a Hoei Koban?
Yes, and apart from the meat juices, it looks to be in good condition. I imagine it's very valuable.
You are not the first person to ask why he has a sword in court. This is the first time today that there's been talk of a Hoei Koban.
I heard of pearls before swine, but I've never heard of bullion and bullion. Stop.
Come on. And I don't think you ever will again. This is extraordinary, though. This means... What does it mean?
Yeah, baby. Certainly never expected to find a precious coin underneath this thick cut of meat. It's from the Hoei era, too. That would make it really quite valuable.
It's well marinated in the juices as well. Look.
What are you thinking of eating it?
No. But the next time I order steak at an expensive restaurant, one thing's for sure, my heart's gonna be racing as I lift up the meat and peer underneath for a prize.
I think you might have the wrong end of the stick about this, Ryunosuke.
Come on, coin underneath the steak. Okay, I guess I can't. Okay.
I thought maybe that would give it to me in an evidentiary way. Presume any further examination of evidence in this trial will be unnecessary. Does the defense have any objection?
The bloodstain was going to be the clinch in the trial for me. Can this plate of steak reveal any other clues at all?
There's another clue. The evidence has been well marinated.
Your Excellency, please wait. This plate of beef is hiding another clue. Another clue that will reveal the shocking truth.
Objection! The only thing that's shocking here is your unhealthy fascination with beef steak.
I love it. Listen, I love beef steak. Your Excellency, I think I've made myself clear, haven't I? I will not be able to turn a blind eye to any more unnecessary procrastination in this trial.
I'm sorry, Miss Brett, but we must ensure a thorough examination of the evidence. I will not give a ruling until I'm completely satisfied that all reasonable doubt has been dispelled.
I see. As a newly affirmed ally of my country, that's still your position, is it? Thank you, Your Excellency.
Counsel for the defense, you will now clearly show the court what you are alluding.
Where is on the plate is new... Yeah, it's underneath.
Yeah!
Oh. I guess I got too hasty. Stop it. That is it. Present.
Got it!
Got it!
Good gracious, that's...
Koban? What on earth?
A Hoei era one at that.
Miss Brett, this is in fact the beefsteak that you ordered at the restaurant on the day in question, is it? Tell me, why is there an old coin seemingly hidden underneath the meat? What a ridiculous question. How should I know? I've never seen that thing before in my life. I don't know what this is, and I want no part of it.
Objection! I fail to see how this is relevant. A coin underneath the meat. That could simply have been a careless mistake by the chef in a moment of distraction.
Objection!
Don't be absurd. We're supposed to believe that this has happened by accident in the kitchen? A rare Hoei Koban just happens to be hidden underneath that piece of steak. If this turns out to be irrelevant to the case, I'll rip up my ticket to Great Britain right now.
He's right. It can't be a coincidence.
Yeah!
Your Excellency,
Yes, Counsel?
a rare Hoei Koban just happens to be hidden underneath that piece of steak. If this turns out to be irrelevant to the case, I'll give up my lawyer job right now.
Objection! By all means, don't let us stop you. No one invited you anyway.
Oh my god, everyone's just yelling.
Perhaps, little boy, you should realize that that is realize that it is you who is irrelevant. Even though I'm the one on trial here. The point is, it's essential that we ask the owner of this coin if he can explain what it's doing under the stake.
The owner?
Yes, it's obvious. There's only one person it can belong to. The owner of the Koban that was found underneath the beefsteak is... this tall-headed man.
Take that!
Obviously, it can only be the antiques dealer and owner of Rasute, Kurio Kurukuda-san. Curie, as in Mr. Cucumber something? Honestly, these ridiculous Japanese names are quite unfathomable. Is it because his head looks like a cucumber?
Ah, yes. The old man who testified earlier alongside the military sergeant, correct?
His bandana's flowing in the wind because he's very cool.
Yes, Your Excellency.
I remember him saying that he was up to something with his Koban coin when it happened. At exactly the moment the gun was fired.
The gunshot interested me not. I was far too busy on the floor.
Too busy on the floor? Sorry, what were you doing?
Hunting for treasure. Indeed, the Hoei Koban, my prized coin.
And this Hoei Koban, do you mean to tell me...
Objection! No, please, why would Kurakata-san's Koban be sandwiched between the victim's beefsteak and its plate? It makes no sense.
Yes! Which is why I'm asking to bring Kurakata-san back to the witness stand so we can ask him.
Officer! Bring both witnesses that testified earlier back in here. Without a moment's delay.
This is the tutorial case, y'all. This is the first case of the game. It's a long one.
I can't believe we come back around to that pair again. But I have a hunch, a strong hunch, call me Quasimodo, that if we chase down the real significance of this Koban, we'll find that it's a key element to the case.
Yeah, get him in here.
Excuse me.
Nacho fries, I want that. You got me that? Thank you. Give it to me. Thank you. That baby is something.
What's this all about? Why have I been called up again?
Don't you realize that it's dinner time for little baby Ido? When my son's belly is empty, he's fiercer than a pack of wolves.
Exploited by the police we were, like miserable dogs forced to bear false witness. And when cast from this courtroom, I became a ruined man in a trice, a worthless, withered antique. Nothing more have I to say. The sun has been set on this Rasute shop owner's existence.
Be that as it may, Kurokuda-san, something has come to light that requires your clarification. As far as your Rasute memory serves, have you ever...
Wah! Yes, that's it, that one, the very exact one that it was. The resplendent, splendiferous Hoei treasure that my rusty bones managed to misplace that fateful day. It can't be.
As I thought.
Young man, enlighten this decrepit old fool. Put me out of my misery. Where was my treasure? Where was it dropped?
Oh, I'm not sure it was dropped anywhere.
You found your coin sandwiched between a beefsteak and its plate, soaking in the seasoned meat's juices.
Sandwiched? Soaking? Seriously?
Clearly, it couldn't have fallen there by accident. Which means somebody must have hidden it there on purpose.
Somebody concealed my Hoei treasure between a slab of meat and a metal plate? Who would do such a thing? Such an unconscionable thing?
A mouse pad? What is it got on it? Excuse me. Did I say something?
Yes, of course.
Proceed, Inspector Hosonaga.
I mentioned this earlier on the trial, but I was working undercover in the restaurant in order to investigate another case.
Ah, yes, that's right. The secret undercover operation.
The Carnival is a high-class Western cuisine restaurant. It attracts wealthy diners, including many foreigners. Recently, there's been a run of similarly executed thefts, targeting the restaurant's rich clientele. A number of such incidents have been reported to the police bureau.
Wicked crimes indeed.
We wanted to nip the case in the bud quickly, especially with so many foreigners being affected.
So that's why you were sent in undercover, is it?
Yo, that's adorable, Star. Yes, I took on the job of a waiter at the restaurant in order to flush out the criminal. It seems likely that this Koban incident is the work of the same thief. You got a pet snake? What kind of snake? That's cute. I want to see that snake.
So unbeknownst to us, there was a master thief at work in the restaurant on a regular basis. This place was already the scene of several crimes, it seems.
I don't know about the master thief part, but the identity of the person who stole and hid Kurokata-san's Koban is all too clear.
What?
What? I think the court would like to hear the defense's view on this matter.
Tell us who it was. I mean, it was Ayesanosa. Ayesanosa.
Take that!
King Cobra Python mix. Whoa.
Obviously, it can only be you. Sergeant Ayesanosa.
What? How dare you? You monster.
Monster?
I stole that Koban, did I? I'm the master thief of the Carnival, am I? You're seriously accusing me of these crimes, cadet. But it wasn't me, it was Ado. Ado is the mastermind.
Come on. Come on. Yeah, post it in the Discord if you like. No pressure, but...
You would push the blame for your crimes onto your own son, an innocent little baby. It's you who's the monster, Sergeant Nosa.
You...
Ah!
God. I forgot about the death animations in these games. What?
Nippon Imperial Army, Sergeant Ayesanosa, preparing to stand down in the Supreme Court, sir. Do any of you know of the extraordinarily low wages the Nippon Imperial Army pays those it expects to keep our country safe? I understand that the temporary increase in taxation owing to the recently ended conflicts remains in place.
It's a very silly mystery game.
But I have heard it's hard for lower-ranking soldiers to make a living, yes. All I want is to put a hot meal on the table for my son.
That's why you were stealing things at the restaurant?
This place is heaving with money. Every 3 days I go there and do reconnaissance for a target. And I'd enjoy chomping my way through a good steak at the same time.
Sounds like he doesn't bother with a knife or fork even, which is worryingly believable.
And your target that day was the old man and his kobold. The only Phoenix Wright death animation I know is the clown. It didn't start, I don't know if they always had them. I call them death animations, but I mean, like, once you've sort of conquered, once you've, like, finally done the final nail in the coffin, there's typically, in the newer games, like, an extraordinarily ridiculous animation.
Yes, sir. He was an easy mark. I slipped the coin in my own pocket without any trouble at all.
A verifiable phantom thief you are. Just call him Joker.
I was all set to leave the steak I was halfway through devouring when it happened.
Yes, when the professor was shot.
I knew that if the police conducted a search and found the coin in my pocket, I'd be finished. I'do too.
So I hid the incriminating evidence as fast as I could, on the double. I slipped it under the stake, hoping that I'd be able to rendezvous with it again at a later date. They don't know the significance of what they've just said. This is ridiculous. Perhaps you could carry on with this absurd prattling in your own time.
Well, Miss Brett?
As of course, my dear lady, of course. How rude of us. Hell yeah, Hamburger. Good job. I'm quite sure there's no need to detain you any longer at all. Yeah, this game is fun as hell. I'm glad you all are enjoying it, because I want to finish it real bad. May the esteemed gentlewoman please be excused, Your Excellency. Hoshi... wait, I'm so sorry. I'm having a hard time reading at this moment, even though I'm playing a reading game. Let me try. Hoshi... Copolaris... Hoshi Raid! Hoshi Raid! Ah! Thank you so much. Welcome, Raiders. My name is Comfy Catboy. I have a few questions I'd like to ask of you all, if you would like to share that. I want to know your favorite food, your favorite cute thing, and your pronouns. And if, perhaps, dear Raiders, you were wondering what my pronouns are, well, I'll tell you. We're doing a murder case right now. This is a Phoenix Wright game. It's an Ace Attorney game, technically. There's no Phoenix around to see it.
Indeed.
How is your stream? I missed what you played, it said, but... Oh, there, it'll say, I'm packing! Hello. Your face is my eye now, sorry. Or you're welcome. Ramen cats, they, them, it, hell yeah! I loved unpacking a great deal. I hope you are having fun with it.
The theft of the Koban was clearly perpetrated by this baby-saddled sergeant.
Again? I cannot do it again, I'm sorry. It would certainly appear to be unrelated to Dr. Wilson's murder.
Of course it is. Hiding a coin under a lump of meat.
Ryu, hello, welcome, welcome. It was cute. Did you finish it? It's got a fun ending.
Hiding a coin under a lump of meat? The sheer nonsense of such an idea astounds me.
Nonsense, is it?
Well,
oof. You did, hell yeah. Oh my god, I had so much fun with it. I'm glad you had a good time. If you need to do post-stream care, go to the bathroom, eat a snack, please, by all means. Don't feel obligated to hang out. But if you do want to hang out, you're going to get a lot of silly voices.
And as for picking up your steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork,
it's beyond nonsense. Ow! Hydrate. Okay. All good. Hell yeah. Oh, thank you, Pika. It's pure madness. Bonk.
Very well. Now that all the questions concerning this witness's testimony have been answered.
Gonna draw while watching? Hell yeah. Love that.
I see no further justification for detaining her.
No, what are you even saying, Judge? Are you all stupid? Are you all idiots?
Thank you, Your Excellency. Good luck, everyone.
No, you're letting her leave. And good day. Stop this.
Grr.
Ryunosuke, what's the matter with you? There's no time for daydreaming.
Oh, no, it's just... Something about Ms. Brett's parting words there got me thinking. I can't quite work at what exactly, but something she just said jarred with me. I feel like there was a contradiction in there somewhere. Something didn't quite add up.
If that's the case, don't just stand there thinking. Make your voice heard.
This is Ace Attorney! And Sparta.
You think later, but if you don't call it now, it'll be too late. The trial will be over.
Excuse me.
Hold it!
Yeah.
Wait, Miss Brett. What is it now? I'm afraid, just one last time, there's something I'd like to ask you. I'd like you to explain the contradiction in your parting words from just a few moments ago.
What are you talking about? What contradiction?
Objection! What new student nonsense is this?
Well, what parting words are you talking about, Ryunosuke?
Hiding a coin under a lump of meat? The sheer nonsense of such an idea astounds me. And as for picking up your steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork? Beyond nonsense, it's pure madness.
Yeah, hold on a sec.
Yeah, yes, I'm right. What she said there exposed an undeniable contradiction. Because I think, because, like, look at this dang thing. It's all bit up. It's not cut at all. So she swapped them! She must have. Bonk.
I'm going to need to see evidence, Counsel. If Ms. Brett's words truly are contradictory, where's the evidence to prove it?
Come on. It's the Stakey Bakey Boy. Oh. Let me just do that. Present it. Yeah!
The photographic print of the scene taken immediately after the incident occurred?
What's interesting is the plate of steak that you can see on the victim's table.
The steak that Ms. Brett had been eating before the professor was killed, yes. Go on.
More accurately, Your Excellency, the steak that was on the victim's table just before the professor was killed.
Now you're just splitting hairs.
Uh-oh. Not true. Something doesn't add up. Something about the steak doesn't... Doesn't something about the steak strike you as very unnatural?
Unnatural? What on earth do you mean?
It's extremely obvious. I'm talking about the shape of the edge where it's been eaten. Oh! I see you've noticed it too, Ms. Brett.
Notice what exactly, Counsel?
Just a few moments ago, Ms. Brett claimed no Englishman could ever contemplate picking up a steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork.
Of course she did. She's a refined English gentlewoman herself.
Then take a good look at this steak, in particular the edge where it's been eaten. As you can see, there are clearly defined barbaric teeth marks in there.
Ah!
Oh.
Ah!
Looks like Ms. Brett has realized something.
So, if the witness, as she claims, wouldn't contemplate eating anything without using a knife and fork, there shouldn't be teeth marks in the steak at all.
Objection! But what is your actual point? Perhaps the delightful Miss Brett was ravenously hungry.
Just a little dab will do ya.
Oh, whatever you say, dear lady, stop.
Grow a spine, man. As I said, I really must be leaving now. Afternoon tea with the Minister of Justice cannot possibly wait any longer.
Of course, of course. This will all be over in the blink of an eye. Rest assured, I'm about to put this rookie in his place. Just... Yeah! I've heard enough, you irritating little spectacled samurai relic. Of course.
Dear lady!
What's the matter, Miss Brett? Have we ruffled your feathers?
Clearly, the witness knows what this means. She's realized the catastrophic implications these teeth marks in the steak have for her.
Ryunosuke, do you know where you're going with this?
I do.
Ouch, he fits my brother's description of a simp. I mean, like, I feel like the dictionary. You know what I mean? You see Ouchie's picture next to it.
Yes, now at last, it's all come together. The mysterious teeth marks in a steak that had allegedly been eaten with cutlery. The reason why the bloodstain I know I saw somehow seems to have disappeared. And most importantly, the evidence that proves once and for all who shot Dr. Wilson that day.
I accept that these teeth marks in the steak are a little unnatural, as you put it, Counsel. But what exactly are you suggesting that tells us?
Everything, Your Excellency.
Everything?
Yes, I believe that these barbaric teeth marks in the steak here amount to conclusive evidence in this case. Evidence that will prove beyond any doubt who shot Dr. Wilson. Conclusive evidence? How many times have I heard that today? You wouldn't know the meaning of the phrase. Typical Japanese empty threats.
How can you be so sure?
Oh, it's quite simple. If you really had such conclusive evidence, you would have presented it to the court long ago. Actually, the evidence I'm talking about hasn't been brought before the court yet.
Hasn't been what?
But just because it hasn't been shown yet, doesn't mean that the evidence does not exist.
This is absurd. The trial has run several hours already, and you say there's evidence yet to be brought forward? This can't be. I don't believe you have it.
I don't, but there's someone who does have it. Someone in this very courtroom.
These games are so wild, I love them.
And if that person is willing to submit the piece of evidence I'm referring to, it will solve everything, every remaining mystery about this case.
We gotta see the other guy's stake. She swapped the stakes, that's what has to have happened.
Very well, I have a feeling this will be my last request of the defense in this trial. Who possesses the conclusive evidence?
I mean, he has it, right?
Take that!
You took everything. Boom!
The answer is obvious. It's Inspector Hosonaga.
What? I have it?
Yes.
You think I've been withholding conclusive evidence? That's ridiculous. Coughs up blood yet again.
No, I'm not saying that. Everyone's attention has been focused on this stake with the teeth marks.
Yes.
Now, earlier this afternoon, Sergeant Nosa told the court the following. I'd enjoy chomping my way through a good steak. And as well as admitting that stealing Kurakuda-san's coin, he told us that he slipped it under the steak.
You watch it, cadet. I'm a superior officer.
Sergeant Nosa, could you please confirm something for me? Was the stake that you put the coin under, in fact, your own stake?
Attention! Affirmative, of course. I might be a soldier in the Imperial Nippon Army, but still. I'm not brave enough to ask a foreign gentle lady if she'd mind me manhandling her meal to hide something in it.
In other words, the stake that the detective submitted as evidence earlier was in fact Sergeant Nosa's meal.
Objection! But that makes no sense. That plate was taken from the victim's table.
Objection!
Yet the gentlewoman doesn't take bites out of her steak, nor did she have any opportunity to steal the coin. Of course I didn't steal it. To even suggest such a thing would be an affront to the entire British Empire.
Well then, how do you explain this paradox?
Exactly. Surely you're not going to suggest that the sergeant switched the two stakes over. You did switch the plates?
Well, after it happened, when I saw the civilian had been murdered right in front of my eyes like that, I panicked. As I said, I immediately lifted my stake and hid the coin underneath it. But then when the waiter announced he was an undercover policeman, I thought I'd had it. If he decided to investigate my slab of meat, that'd be it. I'd be getting my marching orders. So when the cadet here was arrested and taken off to the kitchen, I seized my chance. With military precision and timing, I switched my steak with the one on the foreign lady's table.
What? You can't have. I never saw you do such a thing.
It was called Operation Lightning Bolt. There was no time for strategic planning. It was do or die, I tell you, so yes, I did what had to be done.
Unbelievable!
He stuffs the baby. He's like, get away.
However, fear not, Prosecutor-san.
What now?
I swear on the brass buttons of my uniform, that is all I did, sir.
All you did? That's plenty, Sergeant.
Yes!
I just did a little thievery, a little crime scene manipulation. No big deal.
So, if Sergeant Nosa switched the plates over, it means he took Mrs. Brett's steak and the plate it was on back to his own table.
Yes, that follows.
Inspector Hosonaga,
Keep lying to the court.
Yes.
earlier in this trial, you told the court this. You said you had not only taken Miss Brett's steak after the incident, but also the sergeant's.
I love it. I love these games so much. Because they're silly, but I'm very interested in the mysteries, too. You know what I mean?
Then, that to preserve evidence, you had taken both.
Ah! Oh!
That's correct. Then please present it to the court now. Yeah! That plate was actually on the victim's table at the precise moment he was shot.
Shut up!
What can that possibly tell us now? I mean, a cold slab of tough meat. It can't have the slightest bearing on the case.
Boom! No, you're not wriggling your way out of this time, lady.
I beg your pardon?
Surely you're not that forgetful. Surely you remember the reason why this steak pan promises to prove such a problem for you, no?
You're the ones who decided it was a problem, not me.
The reason the defense asked to see that plate was to confirm something the defendant remembers seeing.
Just thinks he remembers. I'm quite sure of what I saw, Miss Brett. On the side of the plate that was on the table directly behind Dr. Wilson, there was a clear spattering of blood from the gunshot wound to the victim's chest.
I believe the defendant's memory serves him well. And now that we have the evidence to prove it, the plate you were eating from, Ms. Brett. Let us not prolong this any further. Inspector, you will show the evidence to the court. Present the beefsteak and plate that was originally on the victim's table at the time of the incident.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, she's like the bird lady from Tangle Tower a little bit. But less fun.
Yes, sir.
He loves justice. Hydrate, you got it.
Sorry for keeping you.
Show me the blood!
Here is the other steak and its plate. Please feel free to examine it.
Yeah, knife cut that one. The blood stain. It's clearly visible, look!
Yes!
Now this makes everything clear. The blood you can see on the side of the plate shows that at the moment the victim was shot, he was facing the table with his back to me.
In other words, it's impossible for Naruhodo-san to have shot the victim.
He has the meat, he's like Arby's.
It can't be.
In fact, there's only one person who could have possibly shot Dr. Wilson from the front. I'm sure everyone knows by now who that person is.
Grr.
That's right. Ms. Giselle Brett. It's you!
Got her! Got her!
Her swan died. Outdone by a Japanese. She's so racist. Me? By a Japanese schoolboy? No, no, no.
Stop! Yeah!
These little peeps. Oh my god, whatever. Stop! No! I love this game very much. There's still chickens everywhere. Or I guess they're baby swans. They're just little peeps. You got this, hamburger. Please excuse my little outburst. I briefly lost my composure. Most unbecoming behavior. Hell yeah. Most unbecoming behavior for an English gentlewoman. Forgive me.
Well, Miss Brett, I think it's time you told the court what actually happened that day. The truth this time.
Gladly, Your Excellency. Coda, hello. Hello, da.
Teared up listening to the Ultimate Pokemon Rap by Nerd Out.
That's not the one that, that BDG guy did, right? Brian Gilbert. No, Brian David Gilbert. Yeah. He's got a half-hour-long video about making the perfect poker rap, and it's one of my favorite videos on the internet. It was I who took the professor's life, using Quarry. As you surmised, I chose that particular day for one very important reason. The professor had a dental appointment for the extraction of one of his teeth in the morning.
So you planned to kill the professor, knowing that no trace of poison would be found in his water. Because curare is unheard of here in Japan.
Yes. Of course, I never intended to remain at the restaurant for as long as I did. I only needed to see the professor take one tiny sip of his water and it would be all over. I would place the steak I had ordered in front of him to make it appear as though he had been dining alone, and leave immediately. However, before any of that happened, there was an unexpected visitor at the professor's table.
Original singer of the anime, oh.
That would be me, I suppose. Yes, you. Who else? Such a trifling matter, but the fact that you decided to come over and greet the professor meant that I had lost my chance to slip away unnoticed. In due course, the professor took a sip of his water and was paralyzed. I made sure he was sitting in his chair such that he wouldn't fall. There was no going back at that point, so I concocted a plan on the spur of the moment.
A plan to pin Dr. Wilson's murder on this innocent man.
Ghost, hello! How are you? I happen to know what the professor always carried a gun. That he always carried a gun. I decided to use that fact to my advantage. I had the bottle of curare in my handbag, and my own pistol concealed under my skirt.
Under your skirt?
So I was right, there were two guns. Yes. And then I finished my coffee and got up to leave. That's when I noticed the professor's gun, which you had presumably placed on the floor.
Your dad? Oh, no.
Place where you, were sure I would notice it. And everything went according to plan. You noticed the gun, as I'd intended. And then, just as you bent down to pick it up, bang! That's when you shot the professor with your own gun, even though at that point, he was already dead. Naturally, the gunshot caused a commotion, at which point the waiter appeared.
Obviously, I assumed Naruhodo-san was the culprit and apprehended him. I took him to the pantry that adjoins the kitchen and locked him inside.
That's when I took the opportunity to turn the professor and his chair around.
Because, of course, you needed to make it look like the defendant had shot Dr. Wilson from where he'd picked up the gun.
Yeah? What do you got? So there you have it. That is the entirety of my misdemeanor. I'm yawning, I'm sorry.
I'm very tired. My migraine is sort of, like, it's here still, but I can see a little better now. These cases always go on so much longer than I think they are gonna.
Your Excellency?
Yes?
I wonder. Might I speak with you in private later?
Head pass, thank you. I shall call on you.
Thank you. Good day then, everyone. I hope you can forgive me, Naruhodo-san.
No. I certainly can't do that. Bye-bye. It would seem this trial has finally run its course. I presume the prosecution is in agreement.
This can't be. Takasuchi Aoshi does not lose. Not to the likes of this rookie student.
You'd better start getting used to tough opposition.
Arrgh! Inosuke Naruhodo!
Yes?
This insult to the Aoshi family name will never be forgotten.
These two lineages have been cross-legally battling for generations.
So funny.
You've become conceited with age, Count. But the old have to stand aside and make way for the new. It's the way of the world. May you never forget that. Cut him up. Yeah, that's why he brought his sword to court. Yeah! 1,000 millennia may pass, and still, the Ouchi clan will never measure up to the Naruhodo clan. It's true. That is the truth. This trial in the Supreme Court of Japan will, I believe, go down in history as the start of a new chapter in our country's judicial system. He cut his hair off, or he cut his top knot off. Despite being summoned as the accused, you, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, presented an excellent case.
Thank you, Your Excellency.
The use of evidence and deduction to unravel the truth is a modern mythology. After all, it has only been a few short decades since our country opened its doors to the wider world. But the Western ideas of science are rapidly gaining acceptance here. I feel sure that science will soon bring new methods of investigation and new procedures of justice.
Thank you, Pika. I'll do all those things.
The new future of law awaits, but what it will look like I cannot begin to imagine. That is for the young to pursue. Kazuma Asagi.
Yes?
After this trial, you are set to embark on a journey of discovery to the illustrious British Empire. Learn all you can, absorb everything of the wider world that you are able to. And do not forget to fulfill the mission imposed upon you. I understand, Your Excellency.
What was that about? Why do you look so grave all of a sudden?
Never mind. As for you, Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
Oh, yes?
In you, I sense, how can I put it, unusual potential. I very much look forward to seeing how you carry that onwards.
Thank you, Your Excellency. King Bob, hello! We just solved a murder case.
How are you doing?
Yeah, baby. Bonk.
It's time to deliver the final verdict.
Good hell yeah.
I hereby find the defendant, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, not guilty.
Yay! We have there's Sakura petals instead of confetti. That's so fun.
This court is now adjourned.
Bye-bye. Where those petals come from? Right here. G-Mama just summoned them also. I can't believe it. I can't believe what's happened. I made it. I defended myself and made it through that horrendous trial.
Ryunosuke, you finally pulled it off. Congratulations, friend, partner, we're just friends.
Well, I couldn't have done it without you. Thank you, Kazuma.
Ha 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 ha! No, it was a pleasure to watch you at work. So you owe me an extra large sukiyaki from the place on Yume University Street, don't forget.
Good afternoon, all your hard work has certainly paid off. Who are you? It's you. Congratulations to both of you for proving Naruhodo-san's innocence.
Ah, a trusty judicial assistant. You worked hard for that result too, you know.
In a friend way, they're just friends. Oh no, I didn't do anything. Thank you so much. If we hadn't had that research report of Ms. Brett's, I don't know how things would have turned out. Your kind words should really be for my father. I was simply doing as he asked. It was his idea for me to go to the university and investigate.
Your chair just broke. Oh no.
I'm sorry. Banana flows in the wind.
He goes. The wind follows.
Your father? Oh yes, of course. Forgive me for intruding. I'm this girl. I'm his daughter. Speaking of Mikotoba.
Ah, there you are. I believe congratulations are in order. Naruhodo, you did an excellent job.
Thank you, Professor.
Oh no, it is I who should be thanking you, after all. Your efforts exposed a true criminal that took the life of my good friend.
Good friend? They're just friends. They were just friends. Oh yes, you mentioned that before. It was you who actually invited Dr. Wilson to Yume University, wasn't it?
Yes, that's right. Professor Mikotoba studied overseas himself. He went to study forensic medicine in Great Britain. Presumably, that's where you met Dr. Wilson? Exactly. In those days, we worked together in the same hospital.
Oh, you work together. As friends.
I've never heard you mention that before. It was a secret, don't worry about it. Well, it was a long time ago. Anyways. It's your turn, Asagi. Great Britain is a magnificent country. It leads the world. Science, medicine, engineering, culture, and of course, in law. Watch and learn, my boy. See what's happening in the world's largest melting pot. I will. I'll learn all that I can. I swear on this, the spirit of the Asagi clan.
You're not taking that sword to Great Britain, are you?
Of course I am. The Japanese man's katana is his soul. This blade shows me where I need to go. It cuts down anything that's in my way.
Yes, I've definitely seen how sharp it is with my own eyes.
That reminds me, what's happened to the woman? To Giselle Brett, I mean. After all, she's guilty of murder. Ah, yes, her. It's not easy to tell you this, but...
What do you mean? She's surely going to face trial herself now. She's the true culprit, after all.
She will be leaving Japan in the very near future. For Shanghai.
What? Shanghai?
Giselle Brett will not appear in court again in this country. I'm certain of that.
What? But why not?
It's a matter of consular jurisdiction. Who says this?
Hello. Inspector Hosonaga.
It was a hard-fought battle in the courtroom today. Very impressive to watch. I must congratulate...
But what's with all this about consular jurisdiction?
We cannot try this particular foreigner for her crimes here in Japan.
What? We can't try her? But then who? Who's gonna bring her to justice?
A British consular court will hear her case, somewhere far away where our voices can't be heard.
But why a consular court?
Professor, I simply don't understand. I thought consular courts were a thing of the past now that we've signed the friendship treaty. Yes, in normal circumstances, you're right. Then, so long as this is not a serious incident of a highly political nature to our respective governments, they can't invoke a consular court just like that.
Oh, can't they?
Chair still standing? Hell yeah.
But you're sitting down in it.
I hope. Yes, as a student, she doesn't justify our government's making secrets agreements about her fate, does it? Wait. The governments are making secret agreements? Something strange is going on.
So Miss Brett can't be held accountable for her actions here in Japan.
Afraid that for the young student, today's trial was nothing more than a game all along. There was never any danger of comeuppance for her.
No, Hamburger, I'm so sorry. I don't believe it.
The British government's Foreign Affairs Ministry has demanded that we hand over custody of Miss Brett. They're obviously taking this case of a foreign student committing murder very seriously. But it's all gonna change from now on. We can make it change. Yeah, I want to see it, Hamburger. I want to see it in the Discord, baby. When it's finished. It's a time of great turmoil. This new era heralded by the start of the 20th century. One day, I have no doubt, that woman will receive the judgment she deserves. Yes, change is coming, and we're the ones driving it. Yeah. Treasure hunt. Yo, hell yeah. Well, I think that's enough seriousness for now. This evening calls for a celebratory drink.
Professor.
You're right. This is no time for gloomy faces. We should be celebrating Ryunosuke's not guilty verdict. Let's start having some fun.
Hell yeah, Hamburger. I can't wait.
In that case, may I suggest Le Carnival? As a head waiter, I should be delighted to provide you with ample food and drink.
You're a detective, Hosonaga-san, aren't you?
Ahem, ahem, ahem. Let's not worry about the details for now. To the carnival, will you accompany us, Professor? Of course. The carnival's food is second to none.
I shall go and attend to the paperwork for Naruhodo-san's release. Oh, yes, thank you. So, Giselle Brett won't be tried here.
Thank you, well. Yeah, we'll pick this up next week once this bit's over.
Suppose that means I'll never know. I'll never find out why she killed Dr. Wilson. Kazuma.
Yes, Ryunosuke.
I just wanted to say thanks again. That's all. You really saved my skin today.
Ha 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 ha! I didn't do a thing. You were the lawyer in there, weren't you? That defense was all your own work.
Your skills made the difference, though. One day, I bet you'll be the best lawyer in the world.
I'm not so sure about that. Wilson from Castaway. To be honest, something kept occurring to me over and over again during that trial. Couldn't help thinking that maybe you're the one destined to become a great lawyer, not me.
What? Come on, be serious.
If I helped you today, it was only right at the very start of the trial. But you have a natural talent for it, for being a defense lawyer, I mean.
Oh no, not me. All that tense verbal combat? I never want to go through that ever again. I did what you told me to, that's all. Because I knew I could trust you.
That's the point.
Sorry? What do you mean, that's the point?
Listen, Ryunosuke. Do you know what the most crucial weapon is that any lawyer needs in order to win?
Knowledge of the law?
No. The ability to believe.
To believe? To believe what?
A defense lawyer has to fight for his clients. He has to believe in them at all times.
Like you believed in me when I said I didn't do it.
I'm human just like you. I don't have some superhuman ability to know the truth. But you have to make a choice about what to believe in and stick to it when you're defending someone. Sometimes in the courtroom, you can really be backed into a corner. But being able to remain faithful to what you choose to believe in, even then, well, that's not something that anyone can do. It takes a special kind of person.
Believing in your client.
Just look at today's trial. I'm a student lawyer with precious little real experience, but you never stopped believing in me.
Well,
You face seemingly hopeless situations time and again, but you never stopped looking for the truth. And in the end, you found it. Through your own efforts, and because you never stopped believing in me.
Thanks, Kazuma.
He looking sad. There's something I want to ask you, actually, Ryunosuke. Is this it? Will you date me? Hello, Cannonball. Well, it's a favor, really. Something very important to me. Close to my heart, you might say.
Sounds serious. What is...
Ah, you're still here, are you?
Oh, Inspector Hosonaga.
Arrange some rickshaws for us. Let's go. Thank you. We'll be right there. Let's pick up this conversation again later. We should be celebrating right now. Our first victory.
And your study tour to Great Britain, don't forget.
Ah, yes, that too.
So my very first trial came to an end. Kazuma. Professor Mikotoba. Susatsu-san, who acted as my assistant. Inspector Hosonaga, who didn't really play much of a part, but still. It was because of the help and support of these people that I managed to get through that trial. But more importantly, Kazuma hadn't yet managed to ask his favor of me. Little did I realize just how much it would change my life.
And... Yo! We did it! We did it! We beat the first part, baby!
Ooh.
I'd love to save. Babies! We did it! Oh my god. Can you believe it, y'all? We beat the case. That's a little loud. There we go. I love you all to pieces. My head hurts. So I'm gonna just quickly raid somebody. I love you all. We're gonna pick this back up next Wednesday. I imagine in the week next week. The weekend streams, I'm gonna be playing this game called Subliminal. So no, I don't know. What's it called? It's called Superliminal. It's that game where like you solve puzzles by like changing perspective on things. So you can like take a tiny chess piece and then make it like a big chess piece by looking at it differently. I've never played it before. I've been wanting to play it forever. But so now I'm going to. So that'll be Saturday and Sunday. I don't think it's that short of a game, so both days should be correct. I love you all so much. I got 3 links while I find someone to raid. We have my card. That's a one-stop shop to all things Comfy Catboy. If you want to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, or whatever social media you got, that is a lovely place for it. We also have the Discord. If you had a good time here and want to extend that good time off of stream, the Discord is a wonderful place to do that. It's a beautiful place full of lovely people. And my YouTube channels. The third one is a link to all of my different YouTube channels. I'm working real hard on the YouTube stuff, so I hope that you enjoy it, babies. Let's see. Let me find. That's funny. I was like, maybe I'll raid that person, and then they're like, no, they're playing that game I just mentioned. I just mentioned that game. Let's see. Let's make a new friend today. Let's make a new friend. We'll go to just chatting. We'll make a new friend. Ba 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 bow bow. Thank you, Goonsling. That's very sweet of you. Subliminal was the prequel. Can I not? Why is it like this? Do I really have to look at one big channel? Yo, what the heck? I love their hair. Who is this? Who are you? Their name is PP Slayer. Okay. Yeah, as long as they're not, if everything loads up. Yeah, they just got started, it looks like. Their hair is very adorable. We're gonna make a new friend today. Alright, baby. Boom! I love you all to pieces. If you are a subscriber, you can copy and paste our raid message. And if you're not a subscriber, give it a think if you had a good time. No pressure, but I'd appreciate it. I love you all. I'll be back on Saturday, as long as everything goes according to plan. If I don't get several more like migraines in a row. I guess we'll see, babies. Thank you all for handling my technical issues at the start also. I love you. Have a lovely end of your week. Goodbye. Goodbye, 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 goodbye. Boop, 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 boop.